Hey everybody, come on in. Sit down, get your coffee ready. It's patch day. We love patch day. This will be nice. Give those of you who aren't familiar with how Final Fantasy XIV patches work, get to see kind of what they're about. And we can kind of talk about that, because there is very much a trend between patch cycles for 14. Very consistent. That's one of the best things about Final Fantasy 14. It's its consistency with updates and kind of what you can predict as far as the quality and the things you're going to get. Very, very easy to lay out. There's no sitting there going, I wonder if we're going to get new content or a new update. No. 14's very consistent. Creed, morning. What'd you miss yesterday? Well, we're in Final Fantasy 14, and we were really just messing around, kind of talking about the game in general. We made a new character, and I think we'll do a little bit of a playthrough on that. That's about it. Kind of getting ready for today, which there's a new patch, new stuff. And so some of you might be wondering, well, shit, man, I don't know anything about the Final Fantasy XIV story. And that's okay, because I haven't been paying attention to the story either as of late, so we're all a little lost in a lot of regards. Let's go ahead and let's get the camera off. Which button is it? This button? No, that's my end screen. There I am. I forget I'm down in the corner now. Any gameplay? That's crazy. Hang on. Buffering. It's like the 14 stream on Twitch is struggling a bit. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Oh man, we hit 50 followers on Twitch as well. Damn, guys. I haven't even I don't feel like I've been promoting it or anything. And damn, we're just getting out there. That's cool. But this is the character we made yesterday. Well, actually, it's not exactly the same character. We named her Ophelia Miraz, and I'm like, why didn't we just name her Wayfaring Nomad for the channel? Anyways, so I went back. I did that. She's basically in the exact same spot, but we're not going to be doing anything we're not going to be doing anything new character-wise probably today. And just as a reminder, I'm expecting two calls today during the stream. So So I apologize for that ahead of time. You think I would since Hub's named our dog Yuffie? Oh, Final Fantasy's great. For I feel like generally anybody to get into, especially if you like characters and story. It's kind of what 14 or Final Fantasy the franchise is all about. But we got a couple characters here. This is our up-to-date character, Damon, of course, Nomad spelled backwards. And he's going to be what we're going through the new story with. And generally, the thing about 14 content in patch cycles is you can usually see all the new stuff and all that content within like the first day. And then it's just a matter of how repeatable it is. And the most important thing is every bit of content that they generally release in Final Fantasy 14, it's evergreen. So this content that we're doing is then just going to be put into the bank of content in the game. So it makes it very repeatable. There's a grind there if you want it. It's good. It's really good. Oh, that's right. We left off in Ishgard. So this is a housing district. We have Ramza from Final Fantasy Tactics as our little minion. We're gonna change that back to my my usual, which is a new minion they release, which is the German Shepherd. There he is. That's a good doggy. Always start off with a pet. Oh, there we go. So, anytime you're playing Final Fantasy 14, and by the way, Creed, everything here is, you can try Final Fantasy 14 for free. And today, they included in the free trial the expansion Shadowbringers. Shadowbringers is one of the best expansions in the game, and the fact that you can play it for free. The free trial lets you do there's no time limit. You sign up, you make an account, and you just play through the story like a single player game almost. It is extremely, extremely generous. But there are 2 new city states that get added to every single expansion generally. This is the second one. And you might be looking at this and being like, where the fuck are we? Why does everything look like this? Well, that's kind of a long story. I don't really enjoy this aesthetic in 14. It's part of the reason why this latest expansion, I really haven't talked about too much or wanted to play, because I hate this aesthetic for the game. This looks like Cyberpunk. So it's not for me in my Final Fantasy game. And then we have teleporters and stuff. But this aesthetic, this theme that we're going for, it's on the way out. We are now transitioning into the new expansion, which is coming out in January, and that's called Evercold. And it looks like it goes to more like a Celtic theme. Anyways, more fantasy based, which is big thumbs up. Yeah, Creed, I would look up how to do a free trial in Final Fantasy 14. I'd just try it, play it. It's very cozy game. There's a lot of reading, but the combat is it's slower than a lot of other, I would say, MMOs or RPGs, because it has like a long it's called a global cooldown, which is basically just the term for I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see it. See the recast time is it's almost 2.5. That means the time it takes between you can do another action is 2.5 seconds. That's a lot of time to sit there and go, okay, what button do I need to press next? And 14 is pretty good at introducing new abilities to you, new mechanics that enemies are going to do, and it's very forgiving in the early game, and it's pretty forgiving, I would say, throughout the game. And so it teaches you how to play really, really easy. But this is how a new patch works out. Up here in the top left, this is where your MSQ is. This is your North Star when playing the game. Whenever you're like, I don't know what to do, or I'm lost, or anything like that, literally just go up here, and this will give you the important quest to do, and it literally opens up where you need to go, and you just follow it. That's it. This is like the lowest hanging fruit for anybody to play the game. This is kind of like the universal, everybody does the MSQ. The MSQ, which is called the main story, or the main scenario quest, this is the single most important driving force through the game, because this is what takes your character through the story. it unlocks new content. You go to new locations. Everything goes through the MSQ. Period. You have to do the MSQ. That's why this is a Final Fantasy game first, where you have to do the narrative. You want to be invested in the story, the characters, what's going on. And it's not so much a like sandbox game where you're just like a single adventurer just running around to town. You're really not that important. No. Your character is a character in lore, in the story. And so they're important. So it's really well done, because the whole story, or the whole archetype of you're the chosen one, that theme is played out a lot. It's very tiring in a lot of ways, but 14, because the story is so well paced, and I think it's really well told, it earns it. And it feels good to do. Now, is it firing on all cylinders and perfect all the time? No. There's some expansions where pacing's a little off. Dawntrail, the latest expansion, was just a lot of nothing, essentially. They threw a lot of things at the dartboard as far as what are we going to do next for the story, and they were just seeing what would stick. And to me, nothing really landed. And so they had to do a pretty hard course correction. And now things are getting better. The new expansion looks amazing. And on top of that, the story for the new expansion looks intriguing. But the gameplay changes that you're doing, as far as how the game plays, making it more accessible. Big improvements coming. Big improvements coming for the game. Very excited. Let's get started here. This is going to be totally spoilers, by the way. And the story, as far as the MSQ, it's pretty sacred to some people. As far as Happy Tuesday, X. The story is, it's very sacred to some people. It's almost like watching, we'll just say, like a high profile show, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones. Like when those episodes would come out, it's like, okay, I don't want to know anything about it. I want to wait till I watch it, and then I'll get in on the conversation about, ooh, this episode was awesome, etc. That's how MSQ works in Final Fantasy XIV. So, you got to be very careful about spoilers to people who don't want to see them. So everything in the title, that's why the title on both Twitch and YouTube, I think it has spoilers in it. So everybody knows we are going to be going into MSQ spoilers. Although I would argue, with Dawntrail, I haven't really cared about the story too much. But as things come up, I will try to explain in a general sense, because if we are going to be going or starting over and going through the entire story, I don't want to, first off, you forget everything that we're doing here probably, but I don't want to basically explain the whole plot of the game to you, because that's something to just enjoy. But in Fate's footsteps, so generally our character is kind of like a wanderer called the Warrior of Light, and we go around and we essentially just fix people's problems, period. There are these people who live on this planet that was affected by a calamity. Now, calamities in this game are like world-ending events, forces of nature, and they usually take on an elemental type. So if you have a calamity of water, it's going to be a lot of tidal waves, tsunamis, etc. This planet, this nation of people, judging by their aesthetic, or I would just say the purple, they were hit by a lightning calamity. So a lot of thunderstorms. To avoid that calamity, they basically came to our place. And so this is kind of the civilization that has been built out of basically surviving the lightning calamity and how they've gone on. Now there's more to that, but just in general, that's kind of how they explain this crazy, we'll just call it cyberpunk aesthetic. They use like these building blocks called electrodes that can just do all sorts of crazy shit. Lana, morning. Hope everybody's got their coffee. Because this is cozy time. Well, it is until we do new content. Then it's you gotta focus. Morning, Kronos. I will say though, the music. Yeah, Lana, we're not in the Shire anymore. I was talking about the aesthetic here, and I'm like, how the fuck did we get here? This is part of the reason why I have not enjoyed the latest expansion, because this aesthetic, just look at my dude. My dude is in some sort of medieval knight plate armor. I've got a freaking dagger attached to my belt on the back. I have a sword. And I'm standing in a place with floating cars, skyscrapers. That looks like a GPU over there. And it's just like, this doesn't make sense. This is not a good looking aesthetic. Final Fantasy does, fantasy with I would say technology pretty well usually, but it's like a steampunk aesthetic. So a lot of like pipes, steam, kind of mechanical things that don't look like, kind of like golems, etc. But yeah, this ain't it, Chief. Yeah, I'm like, that's a good way to put it. I'm at a con convention for this world, and I'm just like, cause look at this. This is a robot. It looks cool. Don't get me wrong, but this just does not mesh well with this. I will say, if you're looking at this and you're just like, what is going on here? Like, is this what the game is like? No, 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 no. This area, these people, this setting is very much, it's literally in a bubble. It's in a bubble that does not really affect the outside world, or I would say the normal world. So this is very much a one-off, an exception, a small little blip on the aesthetic of the game. That's it. Oh yeah, this also looks very empty. You're right, Lana. That's the other thing. This place is just big for the sake of being big. Yeah, looks like Knights of the Old Republic in Final Fantasy. Again, this is not a representation of 99% of the game. It's just where we are currently, and thankfully, we are leaving this location. So that's why I decided, shit, it's time to go back. But let's just get the MSQ started and we'll get out of this ugly place. Usually they start off with voice acting, but in Fate's Footsteps, we get some food and stuff, but let's just get started. Nope, no voice acting here. So this little Lalafell here, her name is Kryl. And then this cat boy here, he is, I guess his name will come up. His name is Graha. And they are basically your party, your companions. Overall, their people are called the Scions. Have I ever played WoW? I have. What would you like to know about my WoW experience? I've got a lot to say about WoW. I keep up with it, so I'm pretty in touch with what's going on in that side of the gaming hemisphere. Kryl, I trust you were able to get plenty of rest? Good. I thought we might take a moment to ponder our next steps and perhaps reflect on our recent journey. So, our recent journey, we basically went into this world that was hit by calamity, the lightning calamity, and we found a town, city that was still surviving. Classic or retail? I played them both. Oh, or which do I prefer? Because that's another can of worms. I must admit, my thoughts often drift to the Mist Continent and our stay in Trino. So that's where we went. It was heartening to see Milala prosper despite the odds. So that's the place that we learned that was actually still alive. And my own flesh and blood strive in the Levin wrecked landscape. And Grahatia here. By the way, I did look up a text-to-speech. They don't sound good. Sphene was eager to restore the diplomatic relations, and I have no doubt that Alexandria will provide much-needed support for their neighbors. So, a little bit of politicking going on, but this is very much... we're just kind of getting a little recap on last time. Basically, like, last episode, what did we do? And we'll move along very shortly. I, too, shall do everything I can to aid my home away from home, my wonderful, welcoming family included. So, she had a little bit of, like, a... finding out where she was from, what happened to her parents, etc. And good morning, good morning. For the time being, though, I say we've accomplished all within our power, so now we're moving on. Ah, and our warrior of light, he's very handsome. I suppose that just leaves a matter of preservation's research. It is yet unclear how Calyx learned the techniques he used to summon his dark primal. Ooh, there's a lot of words there to to describe primals, Calyx. These are like basically bad forces that we have to defeat. And likewise, much that remains unknown about the key. Let us hope that Shale's efforts bear more fruit. So we have these crystals, they're basically like earrings almost, that they sit like in your, like you just hang over here, and they basically work like a phone, like a magical phone that you have to like, you have to get the people's number, like the magical attunement to call people essentially. And you're still, can you hear me? Shal and I have been reviewing the decrypted files and have uncovered some intriguing details. Would you care to join us? We'll be with you right away. Excellent. Shao seems eager to speak with you all. Come and find us in the lab when you are ready. Uncanny timing indeed. Let us make for the containment complex. God, I can't wait to get out of this. Ooh, Kronos. Speaking of which, they had a very Resident Evil-like dungeon in this game, where it was in a lab. It looked like an umbrella lab. Pretty crazy aesthetic. That was enjoyable, but it's also like, not in my Final Fantasy game. So let's make our way through. Quicker we get through this, the quicker we get to look at something more pleasing. But between classic or retail, I kind of prefer classic for WoW. I like the slower pace. I like the more adventurer vibe. And retail, I feel like, tries to tell a story and have compelling characters. But the writing team sucks. That's about it. They're really bad. They don't honor or like the lore of what Warcraft is, and they try to change it to everybody's friendly. There's no conflict. We're gonna get away from people getting their heads chopped off. Anyways, heading to the containment complex. Right this way. Head on up. Great, we have data terminals. This looks almost like, without the purple, it'd be like, oh, are we playing like Final Fantasy 8? Or maybe 13? Something like that. Or this could be an umbrella lab too. Take a look at our map. I mean, it looks good. It's just not the coat of paint that I'd want in my game. So, this artifact here. This is basically what all of Dawntrail was about. Was just getting this thing they call the key. And I have an idea of what it's going to do, or what it's for.
Ah, you're just in time for a progress report.
Fucking voice acting, yay! Comes and goes. Why is it not in every line? I have no idea. Creed, you remember your dad playing EverQuest? Ooh, that's one I've never done. But yes, this is what I love about RPGs and MMOs. They're a great time to be just sit down, relax, take a slower pace, get very cozy.
The decryption is finally complete. As we suspected, the data represents a partial record of Preservation's research documents. A quick scan of the files, however, failed to turn up the information Y'shtola was after.
Y'shtola, she is basically our What am I trying to say? Ex Machina. I was trying to say like Vox Machina, that's the anime show. Ex Machina, when it comes to everything or anything that needs to be solved, she's just like this, she's like a sorcerer, but she's like a genius, and she just kind of figures everything out.
Indeed. No mention of the Ascians, or primal summoning techniques for that matter.
But she's hot, and she's a cat girl, so she gets away with it.
While Calyx doubtless received instruction from someone possessed of such knowledge, there was naught to identify this benevolent mentor. I am, however, pleased to say that we found several reports concerning the key.
We know the key is used to open paths between worlds, and was a treasured relic of the Milala. And just as the Milala were unable to return after reaching the Mist Continent, so too was Preservation unable to gain a mastery of the prize which had passed into their possession.
So this key, this artifact that we found, is a way to travel between worlds. Because that skill in general, it's basically impossible for 99.9% of the population. Only a few, we'll just call them powerful beings. People with a magical affinity called the Echo. And not even just the Echo, you need something a little bit more, can actually travel between dimensions with a little bit of help. We, of course, we're the hero, so we have that ability because we're pretty important. We're very important.
The data suggests that a particular formula or procedure is required. A process which Calyx appears to have understood to some degree.
Calyx was the baddie that we just defeated. Defeated, not killed.
Yet the key proved fickle.
But you see how 14 here, when it comes to storytelling and story moments, the camera work, making it look cinematic.
Perfectly replicating conditions was no guarantee of success. And even when they did manage to generate a modest portal, the destination was never the one they expected. The reports practically screamed their frustration, describing the experience as being dragged around by a traveler picking roads without rhyme or reason. Serves them right, I say.
After much trial and error, Preservation began to experiment with external actuation devices for the key.
So a meme about the Warrior of Light, your player character, and a lot of cutscenes and stuff, they just kind of smile and then nod. A lot of smiling and a lot of nodding.
Striving to maintain a stable pathway to a chosen location, they conceived of the technology that forms the gate to the Golden City.
Wasn't 7 the first with voice acting? No. No, 7 didn't have voice acting. It was 10. 10's the first Final Fantasy with voice acting.
So, their tribulations ultimately afforded them control of the key, albeit in a limited capacity, which, of course, explains why they were able to instruct Zoralja in its use, thus enabling the unprecedented feat of transferring Everkeep and its environs to the Source.
The Source is basically our planet. It's called Aetheris, but it's the source of... Oh man, we'll forget about these spoilers later, but our world is called the Source. And there was some event that took our world and split it into 14 different shards, including the Source. We call the Source, and then there are 13 reflections, which they are, for all intents and purposes, they're like a copy of the same place, but over hundreds, thousands of years, they have built their own civilizations, their own technologies, and they're basically, again, their own worlds now.
After the Endless Fiend took the key unto herself, she opened pathways to other reflections in her hunt for ether, did she not?
The Milala merely used it to facilitate their exodus. To think what the key has now wrought in different hands.
For all we know, the actuation device augmented the key's power beyond its intended scope. Were your goal to plunder whole worlds of their ether, a tool designed
So ether,
to simply transfer
or aether,
people would likely be insufficient.
is just magic. It's magic, but it's also the building blocks of like every life form. It's like the atom.
Shale, I don't suppose you would be able to remove the actuation device?
The machine made for that very purpose is still functional, thankfully. It shouldn't be a problem.
That's good
What
news.
do you think? We don't even know how the key works. If the device is somehow interfering or amplifying its capabilities, I believe we ought to remove it.
Well, Kryl, you know more than I do. I'll sit there and nod. So that's the key. We just kind of keep it on us in our ass.
Give me a moment.
I'm gonna be honest, I played Dawntrail, and this Shaw character that's got a lot of voice acting, her, I don't remember anything about her at all. Alright, let's see what happens here. So we're basically taking off some sort of mechanical augmentation to this relic device. Yeah, so let's get closer to Y'shtola's face.
My word.
She can see... Hang on. Shit is going down. She can see, like, basically magic. In a way.
Y'shtola?
Oh, that was some good, that was some good editing right there. But yeah, she's blind, technically. But she can see, like, everybody's, like, magic within them. They're being... It's almost like being, kind of like Daredevil vision. Where... blind, but can basically see through like another means in a way. That's what Y'shtola can do.
This is the first time I've beheld the key in all its unobscured glory. The sheer density is extraordinary. 'Tis akin to the structures we saw beneath the Tempest.
Oh, he's just panned to our character. We're like,
Now
uh-huh.
that you mention
Like
it,
Baldur's Gate 3.
the ornamentation is reminiscent of Amarot.
Emerald, this is a location from the past. This is what I was trying to
Have you
say
noticed
earlier,
anything
Lana, when
since
you
the
asked,
key
like,
has
did
been
you
in your
need to play the
possession?
other expansions? Like, do you have to play them in a row? The answer is yes. And this is why. Because we're mentioning things and places that were back in Shadowbringers. So that was like 6 years ago. Well, was it 6 years ago? Yeah, somewhere around there. Crazy. During COVID. I don't know what we're doing. We're thinking. It reminds me of Azem's crystal. We'll learn all about Azem. So this is what we do. Our character does talk, but we are still a, like, silent protagonist.
You're suggesting the key has some connection with Azem.
Uh-huh.
A plausible theory, although one we are yet unequipped to prove.
My apologies.
Why you sound so... She's like, I got a phone call, everybody.
Hello? Yes, this is Cryo speaking.
And honestly, to me, I would love for a game like this to get around using, like, a phone. Phone-like object or thing.
That was Ojika with a message for us.
Ojika. I don't even remember that name.
An urgent matter?
I'm not altogether sure.
Ryle, you just talked to him.
Tataru requires our counsel, and hoped to call upon us in person at the Baldessian
Ooh.
Annex.
Alright, we're about to go to somewhere that's really cool.
Though disappointed we were not present, she appeared content to wait until our travels brought us back to Sharlayan, insisting that it did not merit our immediate summons. Her tone suggested otherwise, however, and Ojika felt compelled to contact us directly.
Mayhap the time has come for another journey across the salt.
Mayhaps. Strong nod.
You'd best go. Though I'll not deny that I'll be sad to see you leave.
I'm gonna be honest, Shull. I don't know who you are. I'm not gonna be sad that you're gone because I don't like this place and we're going and we're not coming back.
Oh, Shale.
Shale.
I
It's
can't
called a
even
shawl.
begin to thank you for all you've done. We will be forever indebted to you and your Oblivion colleagues.
Uh-huh.
Debt is ours. We'll never forget the sacrifices you've made for us. For Alexandria.
Yeah, that's great and all. Can we
In the
go?
meantime, I shall keep sifting through the data. You'll hear as soon as I find anything of note.
Let's get to the good stuff. I think a strong nod. Yep.
Actually, I should like to stay here a little longer.
Oh,
if you don't mind.
Yustola. Our sweet, sweet Yustola.
You are most welcome.
I guess she's staying behind.
And might I borrow the key for a while?
No.
I wish to study it further. With the utmost care, I assure you.
Calling it now. Yustola will figure out how it works, and it'll be good to go after that. Because that's what her character does.
Well then, shall we be off? Ojika will be expecting us.
Well, I'm going to be reminded about who Ojika is, because I have no memory of this person. One last look at the key. This thing is definitely going to come into play for how we get to the next expansion. It's very important. Ooh, look at that. Good thing I didn't put myself over here. I like it. They do like a title screen for every patch. Alright, let's make like a tree and get out of here. Yes. Alright, y'all are in for a treat with this one. So we went from this cyberpunk aesthetic, but now check out where we're going. This is old Charlian. Take a gander at this place. Well, it's snowy. Damn it. But this is just much more chill. And the music is like just this light guitar. It's almost like got like a Greek vibe to it. I think it's on the coast. Could look something like the Mediterranean. It's very pretty. Very, very, very pretty. And every city-state, of course, it has like a communal area as far as like a bar, restaurant. And so this is this like outdoor seating area. It's nice. I like this place a lot. Very cozy, very, very chill. And the music here rocks. But these people here are like a bunch of nerds. Essentially, they are scholars. They study the world. They are they have like no allegiance to any of the nations and their wars. They literally are just here to kind of figure out how the world works, how magic works, and they basically have documents on everything. And every city-state, every main city-state has a basically an inn room. Oh, this is Ojika. Okay, I didn't remember her name. Welcome back, and what a pleasure to see you too, Damon. Oh, well, I remember you now. Thank you for contacting us, Ojika. We came as soon as we could. Of course, I felt prudent to give you the trouble, how troubled Tataru is. Tataru. So there's two potato people, two Lalafels in our party. One of them is Tataru, the other is Kryl here. Tataru is like kind of like an Asura. She's a shark. As far as prices and just like she like is our outfitter almost. When do we get to her? Okay, we go to the main hall. Yes. But yeah, she does all the wheeling and dealing behind the scenes. Although she's not here. I really like this room because look at like the in-game art as far as kind of some of the things that we've done. Like this is Doma. We were talking about this earlier, but this is basically Dalmasca from Final Fantasy XII. It's over there. And you just have like a lot of in-game events that are like pictures and art in-game, like the world map here. This is great. It used to be, when you first came in here, it used to be just this map, but then they added this one here. Kind of showed the updated version of it, like, you know, scaled back a little bit. What else do we got in here? See, this is like the first map we got. So we went through like a little bit of like a map progression. I love that. And this is Garuda. Looking good, Garuda. Crazy, crazy girl summon thing. All right, let's wait. Waiting. That's another thing. Your characters always emote to do actions. So there's a lot of clicking. Your character kind of does the action, like an action. And it's not like there's nothing that's ever like an instant pop. Again, it's at like immersion level. This music is it's so good.
Planning your next journey?
Ooh, more voice acting. I love it.
Oh no, just reminiscing. Thinking back to when you bought this map, and how you all encouraged me to make the voyage to Tural.
So, Kryl here, she's got a paintbrush on her back. She's a Pictomancer. We talked about Pictomancers last episode, but they're like mages, but instead of using like arcane magic, they use a paintbrush. And that's about it. Magical paint.
Are you glad you did?
As if you need ask.
A little banter going on between them. People find the Scions here, these characters, very endearing. They're very attached to them. I like some of them. I don't like all of them. Kryl, she's okay. Graha here, he's pretty cool too.
Welcome back.
Totaro. It's been a while.
I'm so glad you're here.
Throughout the years, I have made my characters' hair more and more gray as they've like adventured along.
Ojika contacted us. He intimated that you were rather concerned.
What do you got for us?
Alphino said he and Alize would pay you a visit upon their return. Have you not seen them?
Alpha Node, Alice. If you remember last episode, those twins that were in the caravan with us at the very beginning of the intro, that's who they are. That's Alpha Node and Alice. So yeah, they've made it through the journeys thus far, and they're part of our merry little band.
Oh no, they were here. I was regaled with many a tale of your Turali adventures. It was only once they departed for Garlemald that the rumors came to my attention.
So Garlemald it's an important place. It's basically the center of the Empire. The Empire was the like central antagonist. They draw a lot from, they do a lot of steampunk, a lot of technology, but their like philosophy is basically conquest. And they have all these legions and stuff. They're very much based off of like the Roman Empire and how they expanded their influence. They would take over nations. They would let the nations almost like keep their way of life, but you swear like fealty and you work for the Empire now. And so that's how basically Garlemald has like expanded. And so part of the story is dealing with all of these places that Garlemald has like taken over and almost like restoring them back to their original nation. Some nations are willing to do that, others are not, and they actually like their place in the Garlean Empire. So it's very again, very political, very complicated, especially when they take a viewpoint of how people growing up during the occupation kind of see how their nation is, and then there's people who obviously were part of the nation before they were taken over, and that kind of like conflict between each other. It's again very complicated, and it's mature.
Rather alarmingly, void-sent sightings seem to be on the rise across the star.
Void Sent. This is a big force that is almost like they're like demons, essentially. They're demons that come into our world, and they are always looking for magic to feast upon. Because the more magic they consume, the more powerful they get, and they need that magic and that power to almost keep existing in our world. So constantly feeding, kind of like vampires in a way. Because if they don't feed enough, they will just go back to where they come from, which is called the Void. And they can also be brought here via like summoning, like blood magic, or through some other means. And it's really hard, really difficult to bring powerful Void Sent to our world. It requires a lot of magic, summoning, etc. Where like little Void Sent, they get over all the time. But the big ones, the difficult one, the powerful ones, they take a little bit more, and then when they come here, it can be pretty devastating. So Void Sent are definitely a like continued problem that we have never found a solution for, and we shouldn't actually, given what the void is and how it's come to be. At least in our character's lifetime here, we shouldn't be able to figure it out. I'm afraid that we will eventually, but I don't think we should.
I was reluctant to bother you with mere hearsay, especially when you had more pressing matters to contend with.
Oh, Tatara, we're always here to lend our hand to you, especially when you mention Voidsent. I love fighting Voidsent. I think that's a cool plot. I like that.
But earlier I received a confidential report from the Grand Company of Eorzea.
Eorzea, that's where you start out your adventure. The Grand Companies are like the city-states.
It's as if a mighty dam has been breached, flooding the land with foul creatures.
Oh, I know just the guy. Us.
For a blessing, most nations have managed to keep the invaders in check, and casualties appear to be minimal thus far. Though the same cannot be said for those regions with a deeper connection to the void. Their fissures continue to manifest without end, putting countless innocents in danger.
A deeper connection to the void.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm like getting excited here. I'm very happy with what they're talking about, where the story's gonna go now, because I almost forgot how good Final Fantasy's like world building and story could be, because just the material that we've been dealing with, I haven't really cared about. But now we're going back to original stuff that has never been solved, and is still very much, in play as far as a problem and conflict. I love it. I'm so excited. So excited.
Garlemald is the home of the Reapers, is it not?
So the Reapers, that is a job that you can play. It originated from Garlemald, and they're kind of like warlocks, where they are martial characters that make a pact with a void creature, usually a powerful void creature. And in return for that void creature being able to operate on the source where we are, they basically bind themselves to the person summoning them, that Reaper. And so the Reaper gets to use their void powers and basically has, again, we talk about like being like a vampire, basically feed them ether. You stay empowered, your void counterpart stays happy, and you kind of like coexist like that. Voidsent, these demons, what we'll call them, they're not necessarily always evil, but they do need ether magic to survive on the source. So it's kind of like, again, it's that bargain, it's that deal that they make.
It is. Alphino and Alize were there when the trouble began, and have since sent word that the situation has taken a dreadful turn.
Oh, you say dreadful turn, I say, it's gonna be a good time. But you can see how much more voice acting picks up in the game, because ARR, not a lot of voice acting. A short time earlier in Tarantum, I don't know. So these are the Garlean people, Alphanode, Alize. And the thing about the Garleans that makes them really stand out, purebloods, they have this like little jewel. It's called a third eye right here.
The abridged account of our time in Tural. Now I shall leave you with the words of the late Dawn servant, Galul Jajar.
Oh, Alphanode.
Ignorance begets strife. Understanding begets fellowship. A notion that rings true for Eorzeans no less than it does for the diverse peoples of Tuliolol.
And for Garleans as well. Even sharing something as simple as a local dish can pave avenues of understanding.
Just TLDR and Alphanode, he's basically like a diplomat. Very much deals in like politics and different tribes and people. He's a good speaker. Alice here, more blunt, more rash. Definitely prefers to get in the middle of a fight. More emotion driven.
All of us to forge new bonds together.
Garleans look sick, by the way. I love their armor and their aesthetic. This is Julius. He's awesome. It's a great way to describe somebody. Just say they're awesome. No backstory, no nothing. He's just awesome.
Thank you for sharing your tale. Better they hear it firsthand than endure my clumsy retelling. Your words give me hope that we might achieve something similar here in Garlemald.
So Garleans, one of their big things, again, technology, that steampunk machines. But why they kind of gravitate towards that is they don't know how to use, they don't have magic. They can't use magic. And that's a big determining factor in how they've basically were kicked out of their initial homeland, is because all of these neighboring tribes and nations, they had magic at their disposal. Magic's a big power, obviously, in this game. And no Garlean could basically wield magic. They just can't. So they had to turn to technology instead.
We all have the capacity to affect change. Our time in Tural taught us that much.
Like, there are some people, even in like Eorzea and different places of the world, where their magical like density and how they manipulate aether and magic is just really small. So they basically can't really use magic efficiently. But even they have more magic than a Garlean. Garlean literally has zero magic. Can't do shit.
And now that we've returned, it's time we rolled up our sleeves and got back to work.
I've already sent missives to the other nations, informing them of our Alexandrian friends. I also intend to notify the Garlean community officially. If both sides are amenable to the proposition, we shall gladly assist in establishing diplomatic relations with Alexandria and Tuliolol.
Thank you. But are you sure you've recovered from your journey? It sounded like you've hardly had time to catch your breath.
These guys are just always going. Go, 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 go. That's what we do. We're characters that don't need rest or anything and can instantly travel.
Sir!
Oh, here we go. Some of the Garleans look cool. Some of them look silly.
Manalis is overrun with void scent. We've sustained heavy civilian casualties.
What?
Plutium Squadron reporting in. We're under attack. Void Scent appeared out of nowhere and ambushed us during a routine inspection.
Let's do it.
Is that another fisher? No, no, no! Ah!
Get it together.
My comrades are under attack. We have to do something.
There's no time to lose. Come on!
I'd be wondering, like, what? Alright, they're getting all the fun. Where the hell are we?
The Garlean community is ill-equipped to defend themselves against such a threat. Even with the aid of the twins and the Ilzabard contingent, they face daunting odds.
We shall leave for Garlemald immediately.
It looks like they need the help of the Warrior of Light.
I was able to contact Thancred and Urianger too. They're already on their way. With any luck, you'll be able to rendezvous with them on arrival.
Yeah. Let's go. Strong nods. That's all we do. We're like, okay, send us towards the problem and we'll fix it. We're like the sword, you know? Everybody else is like the brains, the backbone, etc. We're the blade. I've been told Alphanode and Alize have withdrawn to Turnidum. Anyways, this is what I was talking about earlier, where it's like the voice acting. I'm just gonna. Ooh, should I grab food or money? We'll grab food. We'll be a good player, and we'll pop some food for the dungeon and everything. But where they've told us all the details we need, two worlds intertwined. Okay. So really, they're just summoning up the fact that, all right, we're gonna make haste. Let's go. Let's go. Luckily for us, we can just teleport right there. And again, this is kind of going to be another like aesthetic, almost like Whiplash, where we went to a very like Greek looking look place to now we're in the middle of like a subway station. But I feel like this works better than Solution 9, which was that cyberpunk aesthetic. Did not like this. Did not like that. Ooh, we got some of our other friends here. This is Urianger. He kind of talks like a art thou's the wisest of decisions thou made? Anyway, he talks like that. And then Thancred, he's like the cool guy. He's got the gunblade. He's very he's that kind of heroic figure. Ah, Damon, you've made it in time. You've made it just in time.
You picked a frosty spot for a reunion.
He's like that rogue-like hero. Kind of like a Han Solo. Very suave with the ladies.
Tataru sent word that you were coming.
And it's a very cold location.
Though I'm afraid this is no time for pleasantries.
So you need to dress the part.
Planar fissures have opened up across Garlemald, inundating the region with void scent. As far as we can ascertain, there are 2 focal points of their assault. The Ilzabard contingent are combating the threat in Lapis Manalis.
Lapis
Although they have
Manalis.
suffered casualties, they appear to have
That's
the upper
Roman.
hand.
As well they should. The many talented Uldan thaumaturges among them should be more than capable of closing any fissures they encounter.
This voice actor, if you remember from Final Fantasy Tactics, Sidolphus Orlando, same voice actor. Very different roles though.
Which leaves the second focal point, the Clutium.
Clutium.
Eulus and the Garlean community are attempting to mount a counterattack, but are struggling to cope with the sheer number of void scent.
Oh, get me at the void scent, baby. I'll tear him apart.
Back to the north of the Imperial Palace. Can you lend your aid in securing the area?
With your blessing, I would tend to the wounded returning from battle.
Okay.
Of course, Kryl.
Let's sit around. Let's talk about what everybody's gonna do instead of going.
The quickest route from here to the front is via the train tracks. Once we arrive, we can support the Garlean forces as we make for the fissure in the munitions factory.
Okay, good. Bum, 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 bum. It's kind of like the battle-ready music. Should be pretty quick. There we go. Already unlocked the dungeon. Now, dungeons in this game, very, very straightforward. Where it's like a hallway. You are usually blocked by something until you kill everything. It's another hallway, and you're blocked again. And once you deal with everything, then it's a boss. And it's rinse and repeat, total of 3 bosses. On repeat, it's kind of boring to do these on repeat because they all kind of are structurally the exact same. But first time through a dungeon is always a great time because the aesthetic is usually very pleasing, and it's just fun to look at a new setting, a new dungeon. So the best time for a dungeon is obviously the first time through, and they've added this system here where you can go in with a party, a match-made party of other characters, other players, I mean, or you can use their trust system, which will let you pick some of your companions, and you can go with them instead. And they'll do like little talking points during the dungeon. You're gonna get a more, I guess like story-based run through when you have all your companions there, just because they'll have like little bits of dialogue, they'll have some banter, and so on. But it's not a huge deal because after the dungeon, basically you'll get a cutscene usually for the story, and it basically assumes that these people were with you the entire time. We're gonna go in with randoms. Because it's an MMOrpg, see, it lets you know you can go in with your NPC party, and you kind of pick them here as far as their role. Blue, Thancred here, he's a tank. I'm playing a tank. Can't use 2 tanks. Graha here, he can play any role. Alpha Node, he's a healer. Urianger, also a healer, and then Alice is a DPS. Funny, they yeah, we only get 2 DPS. That's interesting. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna go in with a party. You have to be a certain item level to even enter this place. You also get like a little backstory on the location, but again, every dungeon has a pretty big story component to it as to like why we're here. But you see that the average item level here is 750. You need a 1 tank, 1 healer, 2 DPS. Now you can break these rules as far as like how big your party is and stuff, but if you're just queuing in like this, this is what you're gonna get every time, and you have 90 minutes to complete it. Dungeons take about between 15 and 30 minutes depending on your party. But let's go ahead and join. I'm a tank. This is going to be an instant pop. Yeah. Tanks are, yeah, we got the good stuff here. Now it's time to lock in, because again, mechanics and the visuals that you see, they're universal across the game, but it's the order and the little twists on them that you need to pay attention to avoid, you know, getting a debuff essentially for failing a mechanic. But this is Garlemald. Different aesthetic, but it's more industrial looking. These are Void Scent. Again, they're just fiends. Monsters, but they have like this purple hue about them when they come in. Oh, we're here. And this is our party. And it's also a good time to crank up the music. All right, we got our tank stance on. Let's just get in there. But you see here, hallway. Ooh. So really, we just want to grab everything. As a tank, you get aggro very easy. And really, I'm just making sure that everything over here on this amenity list is all red. Meaning I have aggro, nobody else has it. And I should be tanking all the damage. Now, once I have everybody, I'm really just, like over here, I have all my defensive cooldowns. And I just want to make sure I always have a defensive cooldown running. That way it makes it easier on my healer. But this is the hallway, and then this is the stopping point. This will resolve itself once we kill all the enemies here. Again, how fast you kill the enemies really depends on your party. And I'm just going through all my GCDs, all my abilities. And I'm not really... Nothing's really going to threaten me as far as dying. But see, that cleared up. And I like this aesthetic. Like a battlefield going on. This is very cool. And this is another hallway. Ooh, they come down from the sky. That's awesome. Hit him with a little bit of magic. Because essentially, Paladin in this game is a spell blade. We're going to keep going. We're throwing our shield behind us to keep aggro. I like this snow aesthetic. This is nice. And with let's say later dungeons, they started adding like voice acting from characters every now and then. Same thing as before. We're grabbing everything. We're avoiding the AoE marks, and we're just killing everything. And as a DPS and tank are the easiest to play in this game. It's actually healers who have the most work cut out for them, because not only do they have to heal, they have to do damage at the same time. A big indicator of it is if your team is doing enough damage is based on your healers and how much your healers are doing damage.
We'll handle things from here. Take care of the fissure.
Aye aye. And now, 2 hallways, and now we have a boss. But yes, healers are expected to heal and then do damage in this game. So if you're thinking, oh, I'll just be like a cozy healer that just sits back and heals the entire time. No, no, no. You are expected to do damage, and you actually contribute to how fast you do fights. So we're going to keep an eye on his animations and then his cast bar. Usually the first move they always do is a like a room-wide AoE that you can't dodge. Okay, he's looking at something. I'm just avoiding the cone that's kind of being laid out in front of us. There we go. Okay, they got hit. Where are you going? Where are you going? I think they're back already. 1 DPS got hit. Eyes on me, that is another, they call it raid wides. where everybody just takes damage. I can mitigate some of that for everybody. Motion scanner. This is another like mechanic that shows up a lot. Actually, no, this doesn't. Interesting. What's that gonna do? What? I don't know what this is gonna do. I think I just have to stop moving. Okay, that's what that is. See, that's a familiar mechanic, but it's got a different paint job. As far as take your hands off the keyboard, don't move. That was a stacker. A stack marker. He's doing the same mechanic as before. This is a cone right in front of him. Kind of want to get into the corners. Are you kidding me? He's going to hit me with it. I'm a tank. I'm fine. So for that mechanic, I kind of want to sit in the center to see where he's actually going to go with it. But when you get hit by a mechanic, you get this vulnerable up stack. And so when we take damage, we take increased damage. So the more stacks you get, eventually you'll die. But it takes a lot of stacks for a tank. I'm going to go ahead and stop moving. And we're good to go. We lost a, we lost our dancer. That's a dancer icon up there. Another raid wide. See, I'm dropping a Divine Veil, which gives everybody a little barrier and negates 10% of the damage coming at them. Alright, I'm going to stay in the middle. Where are you leaning towards? Oh, you bastard. I'm going to get hit again. Oh, that happens quick. Same thing as before. And eventually they'll run out of mechanics and they'll just start cycling through the same thing again until you kill them. And I think we've seen all the mechanics from this boss. Oh, I didn't eat any food. Hang on, let me do that. Yum, 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 yum. I need to get down and stop moving. Excellent. You might notice, if you do play Final Fantasy VII, or if you have played Final Fantasy VII, this is a scorpion. Magitech. And now it has a void scent, one of the eyeballs. Literally like eating the top of it. But yeah, it's that model. And this thing should be done. There we go. So at the end of every dungeon boss, there is a treasure coffer, which you can see some of the loot here. Let's just take a look. It's an interesting looking helmet. Now they have made it so everybody can basically transmog every piece of armor. So if you wear heavy armor, it doesn't matter. If you collect everything, you can look like you're wearing cloth, etc. Let's go ahead and grab everything while I'm looking at the loot. And throughout the run, there will also be treasure to pick up there. That's going to have more loot. Well, this is just like I said before, where it's hallway, hallway, hallway. I'm going to pop some of my bigger defensive cooldowns. Just make the job easier on the tank. Make sure I have this guy over here. And playing tank is actually very easy, because everything is very easy to aggro. Or you get, whatchamacallit, to get aggro on and then keep it. It's very hard to lose aggro. And then you also have a lot of defensive cooldowns, so your survivability is like through the roof. You can fail a lot of mechanics and still be okay. And then your damage rotation, as far as what abilities you need to press, they're not as complicated as a DPS. So keep that in mind. If you're thinking like, oh, what kind of job or thing would I want to play? Tanks are very, very easy. Ooh, they get like a record book? We'll take a look at that later. We'll just greed on everything. Oh, and some Arc Demons. These are from Tactics. They are void sent in this game. I'm just grabbing all the loot, taking them with us. Let's grab that one back there. And I'm mainly just looking at my, again, the enmity list here. This is like all the enemies that you have are fighting with. And it lets you know which ones you have aggro on. I'm just making sure they all stay red. And so if I'm missing one of them, I can easily just click them from here. And then pull them with either one of my range abilities or a taunt. Every tank has a taunt called Provoke. And so in the new expansion, they are actually distinguishing tanks. So there's the main tank, and then there's off tanks. Paladin here is going to be a main tank, but it doesn't mean that the other tanks can't tank as well. It just is it's a term for like the style of play instead. Ooh, look at the way this boy came in. Nice, let's get him. I like the look of this guy. He looks like a Kukulane from Tactics. Kind of made his arena. Let's see what you got for us. What the fuck are you doing? Alright. Going that way? Now what are you doing? These fights are like very, very cinematic. And this is a push. So you want to get close to it. And you'll notice you get the outline here of where the character is looking. And these are like their flanking positions or the side. Basic vomit. Well, that sounds like a front. So you can always tell where the enemy is looking at. This is something I need to get into. Well, we need to share these. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. If nobody gets inside these things, it'll do a lot of damage to everybody else. So you have to soak these. And we did it. And I know I talked about how this game has like a slower combat. At this point in the game, it can be pretty quick. But I'm just methodically going through my rotation. I'm pretty comfortable with it in general, that I'm kind of just doing it blind. We're gonna avoid getting hit by you. I get your mechanic, friend. Oh, you're gonna go again. And then he comes in. There goes our there goes our healer. Or I mean our dancer again. Now the great thing is, as a paladin, I can actually heal. I can heal my allies and I can keep them alive, if needs be. So that's why I really like paladin in this game, because I can pick up the healing if our healer goes down, while maintaining defensive cooldowns and doing damage. Let's get back to soaking. And again, these indicators, these are used throughout the game. So while you play, you learn them, you learn all of them, you learn how they work, what you need to do to resolve them. Ripples of Gloom, what is that? Is that a raid wide? Yeah. And so you kind of get used to, if you're a healer, you recognize which abilities are raid-wise, and you can kind of start pre-casting your heal abilities, or like you can put shields on everybody. And there's a lot of things you can do preemptively. It's a lot of like planning out what your next moves are going to be, less than like reaction like timings. There we go, he's dead. I like that boss. Let's see what kind of armor we're getting. This looks cool. I'm gonna grab these. I'm basically just grabbing the glam because my armor, my eye level for my gear is plenty high. It's higher than the stuff here. These are new skins. I'm just looking at what they look like. They got like machinery involved with them. This is a cool dungeon. I like this dungeon. We've been kind of stuck with one aesthetic as far as the dungeons lately, and this is a nice shakeup. But same thing as before. We're gonna go from hallway, boss. In A Realm Reborn dungeons, they take a lot more liberties to make the dungeons, the layouts, not like you'll have open rooms. There'll be side rooms you can go into for literally no reason, but they are there. And the layouts are just more diverse. Whereas here, I guess I don't want to confuse people. I don't know. Now, if you go in with the NPCs that we were talking about, like our companions, they do all the mechanics, they do all that, but you do generally go slower. So that's why playing with people, it's just faster. Going in these tubes here, woo. This is cool. So the Guardians, one of their big things is airships. They make these big-ass airships, and it's why they're able to basically conquer so much. It's because they have like air superiority over everybody. And in warfare, that is huge. Come on, let's go. And I like it. You can see all these void rifts, these fissures popping up everywhere. Come on, everybody together now. And that's a big line AoE. Pop some of my cooldowns. Because as a tank, I can still do a lot of damage, so I don't want to be saving any of my abilities. Like as far as the combat's concerned, there's not a lot of abilities that are like, that have like a long cooldown. So something that has like a 10-minute cooldown, not many of those. So you don't want to like save up too much. You just basically want to go all out a lot of the time. Especially for dungeons. I'm just kind of talking about in dungeon sense. Overall, how raids, like high-end raids work, there is a timing where everybody basically pops all their damage, and it's a very set time. And that way it lines up over and over and over again with everybody else's. So this is the main boss. They usually get their own little cinematic. Masterful Manipulator. Okay. And these Void Sent, they are sentient. So they have thoughts, plots, motives, etc. They're just not like mindless beast. At least the really strong ones. The really strong ones are not mindless. Making sure we don't have any outstanding loot. There we go. We've explored the entire place. But like I said, yeah. Hallway, 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 boss. Rinse and repeat. Let's hit it. And the bosses usually have, like, you know, they do a little voice acting. They got more mechanics at the end. Let's see what you're gonna do. Void Dark. So that is just a half room cleave. We are very much going to avoid. Ooh, little bullet hell with the amount of AoEs on the ground. Okay, and that drops some scrap. That's gonna be for something. Those might explode, yeah. Looks like you're gonna manipulate them to do something else. Okay, so we know this one does a cone and these ones do little AoEs. Now they're probably gonna combine them. Oh, let's do a stack first. Now this should be some sort of them putting it all together. Or they just get rid of them. Okay. More bullet hell stuff. Now they're in a somewhat different location. Yeah, now they're doing them all at once. So right here looks safe because these are going to be two big cones. Yeah. And then this is that oh, that's a room-wide cleave. Okay, get out of there. Yeah, you generally want to stay pretty close to the boss, especially if you don't know. Uh-oh, what's this gonna do? Oh, we're just attacking each other now. That's right, take that, Dancer. Beat your ass. Okay, this is a tank buster, so you gotta pop all your big tank cooldowns. The red and the swirling circles, that's what that means. Okay. I didn't understand what we messed up on that other one. I think we can't be standing next to anybody. Let's hit them here. Again, same thing. Tonal AoEs are going to come from these two. So we probably want to stand somewhere like right here. Although, whoa, they're moving. They're on the move. This is what I'm talking about. They take the mechanics, they teach you what they do, and then they slowly change them. There we go. We resolved it. Another room cleave. And I have not been like pushing my buttons like 100% efficiency. You don't really need to worry about that. I don't want to be in the middle. I know that. Right here, we're good. And then these are, everybody's got to basically spread out when you get one of these over your head. room wide, or half room. I feel more appropriate here with my sword and shield and my magical abilities. And I think that's probably... Ow, I got hit by that one. That's probably all the mechanics. And we also have our limit break up in the top left. Our damage dealers should be using that, although we just lost one. So tanks, when they use a limit break, like their ultimate move for the party, it'll basically negate all the damage. I'm gonna get away from everybody. Okay, you do just avoid everybody. Or you keep moving? I don't know. But yeah, tanks, we will do huge damage mitigation for the entire party. Healers, obviously, will heal everybody with their limit break. And then damage, they just do a lot of damage. It's very, very self-explanatory. But for dungeons in general, you're literally just going to be probably using the damage limit break. And everybody has a limit break ability. It's just this over here. Got him. Whew. Now you get a cutscene. Creed, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, just a little taste of what a patch is looking like for 14. You get the traditional fanfare after you beat a dungeon. It's always nice. See, now our allies come up into the picture like they were hanging around with us and did the dungeon with us. And it looks like we're gonna have a little story component with this void tent, considering they're right here. Now dungeons at the end, they will drop some loot. They can have minions. Some of them even have mounts. Look at the legs. These look okay. Probably nothing I'm gonna trade out for, but these gloves. I mean, these are just some nice, I would say, traditional gloves. Anywho, let's see what this dude's about. So we just have to exit here. But yeah, there's our party. I don't think we can talk to them. No. We'll get the cutscene right here. Ooh, I got a combination. Sweet. Let's see what's going on here. So they're being called back into the void. Whenever we kill Void Sent here, you don't kill them. You just send them back.
I think that's all of them.
We should probably get rid of the one right here.
We need but seal the fissure to prevent further ingress.
Indeed.
It's over.
I don't think it's over. You probably shouldn't close your eyes like that.
Imagine the extent of the damage were it not for your aid. On behalf of the Garlean community, I thank you for all you've done for my people, for my home.
For my home. We like Julius, he's cool. I was supposed to say, he looks like he has something to say. Interesting design, got like fingers coming out of their head, kind of creepy.
I shall close the fissure post-haste.
Indeed. It looks like it wants to talk to us. Yeah, we're all like, fuck, it's still alive. Isn't that what it wants? I'm speculating.
You risked your life in vanquishing the creature. Would you at least let me bear the burden of deciding its fate?
The Voidsent are trying usually to come to the source where we are. He's trying to get the kill steal. Let's see what's going on here. I would not be walking up to that thing without my weapon out. Look how big it is. Fuck.
You want to go back to the void?
So is something kicking them out of the void? Because that's problematic.
Your kind have entered this realm before. Some seeking death that they might rejoin the life stream.
Yeah, because when a void scent dies, they go back to the void when they come here. And in the void, they are basically cannibalizing themselves, always consuming each other, and nobody actually like truly like dies. It's just a continual state of consuming, then you get consumed again. It's not a great place to be. And so when they come over here to the source, they hope if they die here, if we cut them off completely, they'll join again the life stream and kind of, you know, join the natural balance of life and death. Because in the void, it's all been fucked up.
But you would choose that dark, deathless place?
The wind is fresh and pure, untouched by darkness. Perhaps it won't be a blessing to meet my end in such a place. But I cannot yet bear to part with the void. If only the winds would blow there as they do here.
So the void, it used to be somewhere like a normal place, but again, it got like basically magically somewhat nuked to where now it's in this deathless, lifeless state. And it's been like that for a long, long time.
To see my home unsullied, as it once was.
We know that pain all too well.
I can see like his pores. Do we really need that level of detail?
If that is your wish, you must forsake this aggression. Go back to the void and devote yourself to its restoration.
I just don't think that the void scent's gonna be sitting there going like, okay, yeah, you're right. There's more to that. More to them than that. Because all they know how to do is consume. Don't smile at it.
I have a friend, Zero, who hails from your home. She and her companions strive to bring light into the void from another world blighted with imbalance. I hear their efforts have already met with some success. One day, they'll drive the darkness from the void, I'm sure of it.
So the void it's a place that has been like overcome with like darkness magic, dark magic. And there's another shard that has an overabundance of light magic. So to kind of offset each other, this is what we did at the end of ENDWALKER. We met one of the void sent. Her name is Zero. We basically restored them to almost like a human state. And they've basically been they're like leading the restoration effort in on the void. But it's a big task. We'll see how it goes.
His soul is imbued with the will of all those I consumed.
That's what I was mentioning earlier, where the void scent, they just consume each other on the void, and so you have all those other beings inside you until you get consumed, and then you and then everybody else you consume join whatever consumed you. I think there's a point of like dispersing it too. Like if you're killed and you don't consume it or don't get consumed, then everybody who was consumed kind of like slowly dissipates back into like out in the ether or the void, and they like become themselves again, but like in a more weakened state, just to be basically consumed again. It's not a good cycle.
We shall return to our world and seek out this Zero. Then we shall shall see if there is truth in your words.
Malphas. They gave us their name, but we didn't actually learn their name. I guess they'll come up, maybe come back later. It is a cool enemy design. This is all new. That's something we always get with new patches. A nice coat of paint on a lot of enemies. New aesthetics, new stuff. Not a lot of like straight up reuses of assets. And if they do, they usually doll them up in a way that looks brand new. If that makes any sense.
Bravo! I think Zero will approve.
Thanks, Alice.
Oh,
He's got a little bit of a crush on Zero, which is weird, because she's a void sent still. I don't know how that would work out in a relationship. This isn't the time for that.
Indeed. That was truly heartening to see.
Understanding begets fellowship, right?
You stop giving the guy a hard time, jeez.
I thought I might lead by example.
Oh.
Well then, shall we head back?
Yes, Thancred. I'm hoping with the new expansion, the story more gets back to just two sides, that there's just no way, like two nations, two people, whatever, tribes, where there is no resolution. Because a lot of this game is resolved around just fixing everybody's problems. And in history, it is just not the case sometimes. And it makes for more compelling in a video game. Hey, there's one of my FC members and my friends. That's this sloth. I see you, you dirty bastard. Alright, let's complete this quest. Reports have been trickling in. By all accounts, Isbard contingent was successful in containing their threat. I wonder how their fight went. For the Void sent to attack in such numbers, just as we are finding our feet, I daren't, that's a new word, imagine the consequences had you not provided your timely aid. Okay, on behalf of my comrades, thank you. Thank you all. But yeah, the story over time has become a little too much of making everybody come together and understand each other, which it works. That's good. But when it happens at every single location that we visit, it gets a little Disney-esque, I would say.
The Ilsabard contingent have contained the threat on their front. Things appear to be under control for the time being.
So this was what I was saying earlier, where the points that aren't, or the beats that aren't voice acted, those dialogue boxes, they generally like rehash what was there in voice cutscenes. There's like a certain point in the game, I think it's Heavensward, maybe it's Stormblood, where that becomes the case. So if you don't want to do all the reading, you can literally just listen to the voice acted sections and you will get the gist of the story just fine.
Though it remains unclear why the fissures opened up in the first place. According to Tataru, similar ruptures are occurring across the star.
One thing is clear, however. The phenomenon is not without pattern.
Go
The
on.
tendency for fissures to emerge is pronounced in regions deeply connected to the void. Places where the barrier between the two worlds is at its thinnest.
I fear there may be a place in far greater peril than Garlemald.
Ooh, let me see if I can name where he's gonna think of. Place that is really deeply steeped with void. I mean, I think Gridania has a lot of void going on because of their history. They have a place literally called the Palace of the Dead, which has a deep connection to the void. Trying to think. Maybe Thabner, that's another location we went to where there is literally a void gate, an active void gate that we've sealed, that we can open again. Maybe there. Other than Garlemald, yeah, I think. Let's see what he names.
Though it hath since been sealed, you will recall
Thabner.
there is a great void gate that we ourselves had cause to open. A gate which was instrumental in our bid to reunite Vritra with his sister and put an end to Golbez's dark plot.
This was basically a story beat that we did at the end of ENDWALKER. It was kind of an in-between side story that would later have payoff. Like we would continue that story later on. It was very obvious. And now it seems like we are picking up that story.
Oh gods. The moon.
Oh, never mind. It was the moon. Forgot about the moon.
With our attention fixed upon planar fissures, I failed to consider this vulnerability. All other paths unto the void are but pinpricks in the veil compared to that great lunar rift.
Urianger just has a way with words. He actually, his flowery talk has actually been scaled back. He's a lot, I say a lot worse, but he's a lot more flowery in like A Realm Reborn and like Heavensward.
And that rift might be yawning open as we speak. We'd better hurry.
Here's a nitpick. Thancred was in his like winter armor, and now he's back in his more like I would say everyday outfit armor. That's interesting. I noticed that, Square Enix.
For best ways burrow. I dare say the Loporrits are well aware of current events.
Loporrits.
We ought to have Kryl join us once she finishes tending to the wounded.
Or the people who live on the moon. They're bunnies. I don't have anything else to say. They're bunnies.
I shall likewise contact Y'shtola. Her knowledge of the moon's void gate is second to none.
Y'shtola knows everything.
A number of my fellow Garleans now call Mare Lamentorum home. Alphino, Alize, please see they come to no harm.
We'll be back before you know it.
There's so many like silly things in this game. One of them is the freaking bunnies on the moon.
I'm not sure whether you'll run into Zero during the course of all this, but if you do, would you give this to her?
He wants us to give his girlfriend something. Alright, what is it? I bet it's food. Yep, it's a lunch bag.
Emergency rations, in case of a protracted battle. Can't imagine she's eating all that well in the void.
So one of the things the story beats with Zero was her coming to the source. And because the way they get aether and it's like sustenance in the void is obviously they just devour and kill each other. But here, on the source, we obviously have food. So part of like the endearing thing about Zero was just seeing her eat food for the first time. And like stuff that's like spicy, etc.
She likes dumplings.
And like they made like the food look really, really good. You can tell they spent a lot of time on it. Just like the texture. I could use some dumplings myself. That sounds pretty damn good. I like how we hold it. Bye. We take off. Looks like we're going to the moon, y'all. Shit. Again. Oh, look, the bunnies. They just put us right there. Cool. How do we get to the moon? Don't worry about it. They're cute. Comical. Comic relief, I guess, is the best way to put it. So their naming convention, they're always like something way. So this one here is called Mapping Way.
Given thy panicked state, I presume the Loporrits too are beset with void scent.
Oh, what sweet relief it is to see you all. Yes, void scent. And lots of them. They suddenly came pouring forth from the crater.
And there's a reason why they are bunnies. We won't get into it, but there again, there's always usually a lore reason behind things that maybe look a little silly.
I had dearly hoped to find my worries unfounded.
Funny thing is, to get to this place that we are on the moon, their building, their place. Anyways, we had to go by the crater that they're talking about. So wouldn't we have seen that shit? Anyways.
For some unknown reason, the void gate seems to have partially opened.
I need to like my smug ass fucking like a mug. Me sitting here critiquing the story.
Living Way dashed off to activate the brands and halt the fiend's invasion.
Living Way, it's another name.
She hasn't come back, and we've since lost contact.
I suggest we make for the brands without delay.
The brands are almost like powerful containment fields. Lots of nodding. Everybody nod. Literally right back the way we came. Like we literally passed by what they're talking about. I like the quest music. La 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 la. We're on the moon. No other way how to describe that. But yeah, we literally went down into there. That's the bunny's place. But this is the crater. And so we walked literally right by this. Let's go see what is afoot. So this is a little story component with the MSQ. Whenever you see a dark field like this, you're usually going to have to fight something. And that's kind of how they do like more like open world fights instead of always being like in an instance. So off the big stuff, hit him with the holy blades. Oh damn, freaking melted them. They're never tough fights, by the way. But they do come in waves. Luckily, I'm a paladin, baby. I would be a ranger, but we don't have that here. Get him. And I feel like the combat music is a little loud. So we cleared all the enemies, so now we can continue on with the quest. Let me go to my systems. Sound settings. This is background music. We like background music. Is it... I think it's sound effects. Let's just turn this down a smidge. Let's see if this is actually it. Hang on. That. Yeah, it's that. Let's just bump it to 66 is good. If that does anything better. Are MSQs easy? Yes. Yes. MSQ is, again, it's the lowest hanging fruit for every type of player. Because everything goes through the MSQ, so nothing in the MSQ is like difficult. It is just very much like a story that you play through. That's why they added in the dungeons and even in some of the trials, which are the big boss fights, they added so you can fight with NPCs. So if you have like social anxiety of playing with other players and how you perform and them making fun of you, you can literally just play with NPCs and it's all on you then. But I will say, the 14 community, super nice. I've seen people die all the time. Nobody says anything. Nobody's outright mean. Because this game has a very punishing, basically, code of conduct for social things. And they take it very seriously. So I would never be afraid of playing with other people in a game like this. Everybody's generally very nice. More so than other games. But really, I come from like the Guild Wars community, which is also very nice. Of course, there's always dicks in every community, but again, generally speaking, they're all very nice. See, this character here, they're doing the same thing we're doing, and so our enemies kind of like stack on top of each other, but we only need to kill the ones that are by us. Oh, fuck, we'll just grab them all. Living Way, hey bud. I don't know what the other bunny said. I'm pretty sure they just said something about just helping out this other bunny. There's a cutscene. Good. More voice acting. See, they do better.
I dread to think what would have befallen me if you hadn't intervened.
Hi, Living Way.
Oh, I was never in any real danger, of course. I knew you would realize our plight and rush to our rescue.
The bunnies are kind of like tongue-in-cheek funny, in a way. I don't want to explain too much about them, because if we do go through the MSQ...
Atheris is likewise plagued with void scent.
So Atheris, that's our planet, the world. the source.
If only we'd prioritized further development of the Void-Sent slaughter bots, we could have stemmed the tide ourselves.
Sure.
Oh, what a tremendous demonstration that would have been. Irrefutable proof that I was mankind's staunchest ally and the greatest lubberate to ever live. I can practically taste the praise.
Okay. These fucking things.
Fortunately, I was able to activate the brands. Should any more Void-Sent emerge from the gate, they ought to be confined to the crater. Unless, of course, the Void Gate begins to expand of its own accord, or some gargantuan monstrosity tries to barge through, I don't foresee any major problems.
Well, I bet that gargantuan monstrosity is definitely going to barge through then. Lovely. Right on time.
Oh, nope. We're doomed.
They had kind of like dark humor about them. But they're very cheery about it. Oh, hey, Graha. Y'shtola, she's here, thank God. She said she was going to stay behind? No.
I left the data in Shale's capable hands and teleported here as soon as I heard.
So, our party, the Scions, they're all very dense in Aether, so teleportation for them across large spaces, distances, not a huge deal. But again, when we talked about like normal people, the everyday adventurer, teleporting is very taxing.
And ere you ask, I made sure to bring the key with me.
Why the hell would you bring the key with you? And we're telling them what's going on. So guys, there's Void-Sent coming through, and the big one
yet awaits us.
Oh yeah.
'Tis Golbez's domain beyond the Void Gate.
So yeah, in the Void, there are very powerful Void-Sent, and they basically carve out part of the Void for themselves. Golbez, he has his own domain. It's kind of what we were dealing with.
I wonder how he and Zero are faring.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to get a reunion with them. Golbez, he's a character from Final Fantasy IV. Zero's kind of new. There, a little bit of a flashback to remind you of the two. There's Zero, and that's I don't remember what that little thing is. So this is the Azem crystal. It seems to have some sort of synergy
By the 12.
with the key. Oh, let's see what happens here. I'll talk about the crystal in a second. It's pretty important. Are they going to combine into one relic? Ethos. Trying to think that name comes to mind. Hold fast to what you must and meet your fate without fear. Sorry, I should be reading this out because it's obviously not English or any other language. Go forth, discover, unite the stars unto one. Let none bar your path. We're doing some crazy, I was gonna say timey-wimey magic. This is a nice shot right there. That's beautiful. Oh, it does become one. Nice. That was Golbez. That's Zero. So our crystal that we've had for a long time, and then the key combined, I think it's going to let us go between shards, reflections, like really easily. Without any assistance, we can just do it ourselves with these two artifacts. Let's see if we get to a point to stop, and I kind of can explain the Azem crystal briefly. Yeah, we just teleported straight to the void. Cool. That is the planet. That is the void. And we're on the void's version of the moon. That's a void gate. You noticed us, huh? There's Zero. She's cool. Funnily enough, that sword model she has, and I feel like calling this out now because it annoys me. We don't have that sword model anywhere. And I really like it. So that's why I'm like, I want it. Yeah, there's no model for us to get for that sword.
What are you doing here?
Hi, Zero. A visit felt long overdue. No time to explain. I feel like that's appropriate.
Trust you to state the obvious.
I'm actually happy to see Zero. I like her.
May as well make yourself useful. The gate's sheer size appears to have made it a tempting target.
That's a big void scent.
NWO.
NWO.
A dread void scent risen from the benighted depths of the ocean.
He talks like he has a helmet on, and I like it.
They kept to the confines of their domain while Zeromus endured. No longer, it would seem.
We don't need to talk about Zeromus.
And once they had discovered a path to the Red Moon, they wasted no time in making the journey.
So obviously a big-ass void gate is going to attract a lot of void scent because it allows the more powerful void scent to get through with ease, because on their own, it's very difficult for them to travel between the void to the source. But a big void gate, well, that's a very tempting offer.
Leave the void scent nearby to us. You take care of NWO.
We'll take care of the big target, of course.
Facing this many foes calls for a more familiar approach.
What are you gonna do? I want that sword model. I really do. I love that sword model. So when she was... That's really cool.
Void scent can change their form at will. Both light and darkness are mine to wield.
So this is Zero's original design here. When we found her, she was very much imbued with darkness. Through our time with her, we imbued her with light, which is what you saw more Paladin-esque, but this is her like Reaper version, and very stylish, very cool.
Besides, what better to purge darkness from the void than darkness itself?
Oh, the darkness. Also void scent, I don't think they're actually physically there. If that makes any sense. I don't know if I want to go into that. I'm not exactly sure, but like that's how they can change their look basically on demand. They just want an excuse to use the Reaper around, use the Reaper more in cutscenes. And Golbez is cool too. So usually with a patch, you get a dungeon, of course, and you also get a trial, which is the boss fight. Now, the XIV crystal, it's basically a MacGuffin for us to summon other warriors of light from different times, past, present, future. And it's basically the way they justify like other player characters joining you in lore to fight big enemies. Because crystals, every time, or all the jobs, because this goes back into the whole job system. Every job has a job crystal. And there's not just one of these, there's multiple. But what a job crystal does is, if you are, I would say, adequate enough to wield it, it'll basically let you learn and pass on knowledge from previous warriors, people who are wielding the job crystal. So you learn from their techniques, and basically the job crystal gets stronger and stronger, and then it teaches its current wielder all those techniques and makes them stronger. And at a certain point, once the crystal has basically taught you enough, it then starts to learn from you, so that way when you eventually pass it on to, you know, your next disciple or whatever, they get even better and better. And so we're now at basically a certain point in history where job crystals are very powerful. And our XIV crystal, it's not tied to a certain job, but its original wielder was somebody who was a great traveler called XIV. And it has strong synergy with us. I don't want to go too much into the lore, but again, basically can call upon the other warriors of light from different time, places, etc. So that's what the XIV crystal does. And let's continue on. There's the clip notes of it.
Come in search of power, renown.
Renown.
I fight to end this world without end. All who stand before me shall fall.
Obviously, he's playing on like all older Final Fantasies. The music. I don't remember where Ennuo is from. I'm guessing from 4? I don't know. I think it's 4. No. I don't know. Anyways, trial is unlocked. Now, some trials you can do with NPCs, but not all of them. I wonder if this one... No, this one doesn't look like it's going to. Ooh, we can walk around here. Kind of get a good look at his boss design. Look at the arena he's kind of transported us to. That's something they do pretty often with bosses, is they take us and we basically create an arena essentially to mitigate damage, like collateral damage to either the environment, citizens that are around, like innocent people. We basically like ship ourselves to another, either a different location or something like that again, so we can have our fight and it's just between us. Because the Warrior of Light, we kind of have this this like rule where we try to avoid as much collateral damage like as possible. Put it down a little bit more. There. But yeah, that's kind of our gist, and let's go ahead and again, we're a tank, so we're probably going to get that instant Q. Yeah. What was the eye level of the gear we just grabbed? 765. Okay, and to get into here, you need to be 755. But if you did everything prior to this patch, you should be completely fine. Anyways, let's do it. We gotta wait 6 minutes. I doubt it's gonna take that long. We could leave here, but I feel like we'll just stay. But this is basically the summoning circle we always do. Of course, we're in the center, and then all the people we're gonna summon are gonna come into here. And as a tank, again, the Qs are usually the shortest because nobody wants the responsibility of having aggro, but little do they know, it's actually the easiest job. It looks pretty cool. Looking at his design. Tentacles, kind of like a chest plate. So every Void Sent, because he was mentioning it, they want to end basically their endless cycle of death. And the best way they know how to do it is to come to the source and consume life there, and then maybe even die there. But they have a lot of people. I mean, they like, again, it's their own planet. They have their own people, especially because all the Void Sent, were present before the world was like basically fucked up. So they've been around for a long time. They basically have some remnants of their more mortal life, and so they haven't forgotten that. A lot of them do just end up like mindless, but again, the more powerful ones, they have their conscience. They're able to think still, and so that's kind of a lot of their driving forces. And unfortunately, it's like it's a them or us situation when it comes to the Void. That's why when they come to the source, they usually are looking to cause trouble. Let's look at the gear here. More so my eye level right now is 778. This gear that I have is 780. Mainly across the board, except for this ring. I'm gonna have to upgrade that eventually. And then this purple, my weapon. Why is it purple? It's a relic. This is a weapon that you slowly upgrade as the expansion goes on, and eventually the next step will make this the most powerful weapon during this time in the game, during this patch cycle. I think it'll probably get bumped up to 785. I don't know. Even like Savage rating, so the hardest difficult stuff, this weapon will eventually be the best weapon. So this is kind of low-hanging fruit for, again, everybody to have access to powerful weapons without having to do really, really difficult content. Relic weapons are just kind of a grind, just to grind for a really good weapon, really flashy weapon. They usually have some sort of like effect, like my sword here. The shield too, but I don't have the shield. I went with like no shield. They usually have some sort of glowy effect. They look really cool. Not like something in Guild Wars 2 where you have those legendary weapons, which are amazing all the time. They're never gonna get there's never gonna be anything better than a legendary weapon. No. These relic weapons, they will eventually be phased out during the next expansion. But for the time being, yeah, these are the best weapons. The grinds aren't too bad, but they're not like something like Guild Wars 2, those legendary weapon grinds. So they are something to go for, and there is also quest and a story to play alongside the relic weapons as to like why you're crafting them, how you're crafting them, their purpose, etc. So just more story at the very least. And you don't need a relic weapon ever. It's just something else to do. Once you have, like, I would say, really good gear, and you're like, I want something else to do, or I want something to level up beyond just like my characters or my other jobs. So it's like a piece of equipment that you level up. And there's one for every single job. Now the way they used to do it, or last expansion, was just to level up the weapon, it was really easy. You just needed to spend tomes. People didn't like that because it was very boring. This time around, the first time you craft a relic weapon, so when you're going through the story of the relic weapon, there is a grind associated with it. But once you finish a step, if you then want to get another weapon, say like the warrior, like an axe, all you got to do is spend tomes. You don't have to do the quest over again. So that's kind of the compromise they made. Oh, yeah, Lana, I hope they keep horizontal progression as well in Guild Wars 3. I like that more because, yes, Guild Wars 2, those legendary weapons, they are a grind. There's a lot of work you got to put into them. They take a while and a lot of money, gold. But what you get out of it is such a huge convenience. It's a weapon that's never going to be like power crept, as far as like nothing's going to get better, and it is going to be the highest tier forevermore. I like that. I like that system a lot. I like horizontal progression. But I will say the vertical progression in Final Fantasy XIV, it's not hard. And they're only making it easier in the next expansion. Just because we're going to have so many jobs. Ooh, we got Beastmaster. That's not available now. I think they just put it here. That's a whole nother thing. The limited job section. Because this is a limited job. And then Blue Mage is also a limited job where they can't do the normal content. It's the whole thing. I don't want to get into it. This is taking a while for this one. Interesting. I'm wondering if I should go in as a DPS instead, because I can just easily swap my gear into either Bard or Viper. Maybe that'll make it go quicker. Where are my emotes? something you can always do while we're waiting. The classic... I'll just type it. Screw it. I don't know where it is. Is it classic? Squats, baby. Yeah. Final Fantasy VII style. We don't skip leg day around here. Very important for boss fights. Now it's interesting they're showing off Reaper because in the latest trailer, they have the Warrior of Light. So in every trailer, basically, every expansion trailer, the Warrior of Light always has like a new job that they show off, or they're wearing a different aesthetic. But they kind of keep to one rule: the Warrior Light always has to be a melee job. Yoshi P, the director, is like, yeah, if you're gonna be the Warrior Light, you kind of need to be kind of front and center. So something like a mage, or like a bow user, a bard, they're in the back line. It's not very heroic in their opinion. So every time the Warrior Light has to be something melee. And this time around, they're dressed as a Reaper, which is a job we got back in ENDWALKER. It's just funny that they're bringing up Reaper a lot. Reaper's cool. There we go. Let's do it. This should be interesting. Lana, tank is popular, but yeah, DPS is by far the most popular, just because you can see the list here. All of the red jobs, these are all DPS. So you have a lot of variety, a lot of different things. Meanwhile, tank, we have four jobs. Healers, same thing, 4 jobs. But next expansion, we're getting another tank, and we're also getting another physical range DPS. We don't know exactly what they're going to be. Speculation with the tank, it's going to be something that holds like 2 shields. Maybe uses them like kind of like a monk. That's the indicator. Oh, somebody left, but we're at the top of the queue, so it'll be an instant pop. Yeah. And then the physical range, we don't know what we're going to get. I hope it's like a crossbow, maybe like hand crossbows. That'd be cool. Or like a whip, kind of like a Castlevania whip. Something like that. That'd be sick. But we will find that out at their next like festivals. So you're gonna see our character here. We're gonna use it. We're using the crystal, and then boom, the other characters, other players get summoned in. Sovereign of Naught. Yeah, we're gonna whoop your ass. So both the tanks, me and him, both have our tank stance on. I'm gonna take my tank stance off and just let them main tank. Let's do it. Everybody's very excited.
All who dare oppose me shall quake before the silken dawn.
Now, as the off tank, as in I don't have aggro, I basically just sit here, and there are certain situations where I want to grab aggro, but generally speaking, in normal story trials, you don't really ever have to tank swap. What is going to go on here? So we need to figure out what this is going to do. And again, they kind of teach you. I'm just going to move over here. So that made that more black. Interesting. It just flipped over there. So I'm keeping my eye on this thing here. Is he just going to do the same thing? So it's just a big old frontal cone from that thing. Got it. And obviously I need to keep an eye on if the other tank goes down. I need to take aggro. Oh god, these things coming up. Okay, they're just going to explode. Yeah. This is like a ring around the rosy. Oh wow, that's fast. Okay. So these are like meteors that are going to drop down on us, so we need to get away from everybody.
Accept your downfall.
Okay, some of those things are just exploding. I'm not so much focused on my rotation right now as I am just looking at the actual battle and then what's going on. What the fudge? Go away from me. Get away from me. Interesting. Okay. Get away from me. Get away from me. Damn, this thing picks up. Alright. That's a stack. In Final Fantasy XIV, the fights, they're generally a dance where mechanics will happen in a certain order, and it's just about knowing which part it is and then executing, usually with like the right placement. A lot of stacking, spreading, stuff like that.
Doth the yawning rift not tempt you?
Nope, it doesn't. That's an interesting shape. I don't like the look of that. Meteor rain, what's that gonna be? That's a raid wide.
The void consumes.
All for naught. What is going on?
Will endure.
So it's going in. Let's see. And the music's just like, go, go, go. Ah! Ow. Well, this is crazy looking. Oh, hang on, I got a call.
I've breached the darkness. Let the light guide you.
You must break free.
Oof. We're still alive. So it's interesting. We changed it to a new arena, and then we had to use obviously that light crystal. Damn.
Now to deal with NOO.
Life and death rendered meaningless.
This is very cinematic for a trial. A lot of cutscenes in it. They usually don't have this many.
Light, protect us.
I will not yield my domain.
Golbez is kind of like anti-hero vibes. And now we're in here. This is cool. What do we do? We're just standing behind her her light rampart, which I have as a passage of arms. So it's passage of arm, not light rampart. That's a paladin-like ability, which I have. Okay, we know what that is. That's going to be a frontal cone. Oh, he does one under him too. Okay, that's new.
Shall never cease to be.
So there is a harder version of this fight.
Is absolute.
That's going to use similar mechanics. It's called extreme mode. We're not going to do that, but just know that there is a harder version. So we're just kind of getting the baby version of this fight.
The void's power is mine to wield.
And usually in the extreme mode, they don't have all like the cinematic sparks because with the extreme mode, you basically want to farm it for either like a mount or you get some gear from it. Usually a weapon. It's like another weapon you can get. That's pretty good.
Behold the truth of this world.
What do you got for us? Another raid wide.
Accept your downfall.
And it's this tether thing again with the void thing. So you really got to run out of this sucker. And then try to not run it through your team. Okay, it's going to like switch. So there's no really indicator when that's going to happen. Got it. Or at some point it'll go. Okay, we need to get out of the middle there. So his moves have certain names, and then that's what you can read to basically know what ability he's going to use. So the name of the ability, and then when it's going to cast, and then the visual representation of like this right here. I know when this Gaze of the Void. Oh no, not the right one. That one happened before. Gaze of the Void is this Ring Around the Rosy. We got hit by it. Really want to be really close to the boss or something like that, just so you can go around him at a quick pace. We're doing all right though. You can see I'm getting hit by a lot of things, but we're completely fine. And we actually have Golbez and Zero with us as NPCs. That's funny. Usually they don't have literally like the allied NPCs in the fight with us. Like they're doing real damage. Not a lot, but they're doing something. I wonder if this is like a taste of things things to come in the new expansion. We know this one. We got to get outside of where that ends. This is a spread. Don't stack each other. And then he's going to do another Ring Around the Rosy. I think I'm on the right side. Nope, I'm on the wrong side. There is a these are meteors. Need to get away from everybody. Put on my own defensive cooldowns. Stack. But again, not super important to be making sure you're pressing all the right buttons at the right time as far as damage. It's more important to know what the mechanics are in the fight, and then learn that way. As soon as it becomes like muscle memory as far as where to go and what everything does, that's when you can really start focusing on making sure all your abilities, you're doing like the right rotation. But you don't need to worry about that until extreme and like savage fights, which are completely optional. There's no story lock behind them. I just got hit by 2 of them, and you see, like, I'm fine. Somebody's using their limit break. This is the samurai one. Gonna do a lot of damage. Kind of cool. Cool way to end the fight. Now let's see what happens. We just one-shot it, so they're not that difficult.
Sealed away.
Now the thing is, if they kill him, oh yeah, that's what they could do. Oh, that's a whole nother plot too. Is how they deal with Void Scent now. Because again, if they just kill it, it'll go back into the Void, and then the cycle of consuming will just continue. But Zero there figure out a way to almost like contain them to stop that cycle. Let's go ahead and leave, and this should play a cutscene. So yeah, if you want challenging content, it's not going to be in the MSQ, but you have to do the MSQ to unlock the challenging content. Like, we finished the story mode of the trial here, and then afterwards we can go talk to an NPC to unlock the extreme mode, which is the challenging content. And it works the same for raids as well. Because raids and trials, they're not the same thing. They have the same, they're kind of the same, but they're not the same. Like, trials are basically one-off bosses that are usually tied to the MSQ. Whereas raids, they're their own separate story.
We would have struggled to face Enwo alone.
Where the chain of bosses that you fight in like a raid tier, there's always just four bosses. They all have like a connected, continued story throughout the expansion. They're like their own side story and series, and they're completely optional. But that's where you go for hard content. But you can still enjoy the story by doing the normal raid. But once you do that, you unlock the Savage version, which again works similar to Trials here, where we do the normal version, and then afterwards we can unlock the Extreme version, which is the hard mode. It's not too hard though. Like, you usually can beat it in 1 to 2 lockouts, and lockouts are just the amount of time in the fight instance that you get. So you get 90 minutes, and most people, when you join to do an Extreme, you can either get it done in that first 90 minutes, like blind, or like 2 lockouts. That's usually how they design how long it takes to beat them. Savage raids, on the other hand, oh man, it's been a while. It takes like maybe a week or 2, maybe longer, depending on if you're doing it with your own party. Anyways, those are much tougher than extreme fights.
I presume you journeyed here.
And then there's ultimates, but again, we don't want to get into those. Nod, nod.
With Enwo defeated, there are none left in this realm who pose a serious threat. I dare say the problem is resolved.
Not so fast, Golbez. Why did this problem happen? Need a mask. Alas, Voidsent have been emerging from fissures across the source. Have you noticed any abnormalities in the void as of late? Or were your lights getting so gray?
Nothing comes to mind. Why'd you ask?
They don't seem to think there's anything issue, but we know there is an issue.
So the breach wasn't limited to the Void Gate?
No, it's happening everywhere. So they think that the Void Gate, which is here, was causing just like a surge.
For better or worse, precious little has changed in the 13th since the Romus fell.
The 13th, that is the Void.
Have you noticed anything unusual?
I know not the reason events have unfolded this way, but there is, perhaps, an explanation as to why the Void Gate and the fissures opened.
Why don't you tell us, Golbez?
Here, in my domain, even the slightest change is keenly felt. When the gate opened, I sensed not the workings of some external force.
Okay.
Rather, it felt as if the barrier between our worlds was weakening naturally, moment by moment, until the two came to meet.
That's not good.
And you think this weakening could be happening elsewhere?
'Tis a possibility.
The barrier between our realms weakening.
And Garlemald.
The reason why it's a problem is basically Zero and Golbez, they're like the only friendly Voidsent on the Void. So it's a whole planet of, again, Voidsent demons that if they merge with our world, it would be catastrophic. Lana, I do all of the content.
Eulus took mercy upon the interloper.
Yeah, I do. I do all the content. I was gonna say, like, I don't do like the savage version of the raids, but if you just want to get the story, you just need to do the normal version of the raid, and again, it gives you a more watered down, just like more casual version of the raid. I do those, and I do the extreme trials every now and then if I want to do something hard. But yeah, I at least see all the content on like the normal mode. And then I decide if, like say I really like a trial, like I really like the boss, I will then do the extreme mode, which happens every now and then. Like this trial, extreme, unless my friends at my FC want me to do the extreme trial, I probably won't. And then for the raids, the savage raids, again, it has to be the same thing where the savage raid, I either have to be really interested in the story or the boss fights have to be like amazing. And usually the normal modes are good enough for me. I have no idea what you just said. Oh, here we go.
We all share the same longing for home.
Yeah, stop being all sentimental. We need to figure out a problem here. Or figure out how to resolve the problem.
I will gladly offer them aid. Please tell Eulus as much.
I was talking about the Voidsent that we sent to meet her. This is obviously Zero.
Wait. How exactly did you get here? No mortal could traverse the Void Gate in its current state.
So yeah, you need help to travel between shards. Well, now we realize the key plus our Azem crystal, which is like a traveler crystal. It's kind of like what a Zem is. Together, we can just travel between shards easily. And we like make our own little gate here. This is cool. Little magical effect. Azem has this like golden aura to the magic. Same with like the summoning circle and obviously the crystal's color.
And this path of yours is still there. I cannot see it.
Oh, interesting. I was wondering if we could bring other people with us, but I guess not.
Nor does it reveal itself to me. Perhaps the path serves only the key bearer.
I liked his disappointment. He's like, Thinking.
So it is not a means to travel freely back and forth. A pity. I would have liked to see my friends again.
I hope they keep... So one of the things I really like about 14, especially in the early days, there were so many like limitations. Like, again, the world felt very grounded about what you can and can't do. And slowly we've been just kind of expanding our powers to do a lot of things and solve a lot of issues. But I like having pretty strict limitations, especially for like the everyday person that like exist, you know, in 14. Even though I think we're going to be able to travel people eventually, but I like that sense of realism, not realism, but being grounded. Like one of the things that really annoyed me about Guild Wars 2 in End of Dragon, they introduce the Void. And everybody talks about the Void like we knew everything about the Void. But it was the first time we've ever heard about it. And we're like, what the hell are they talking about? Anyways, that bothered me. Because it's just like a term and like a phenomenon that they expected us to know, even though it's like, this is the first time. Oh. So we're on the 13th moon. So we have our own version of the moon, and they have their own version of the moon, and theirs is very red. It's a red moon, and there's the Void over there. Looks very very distorted. Almost like an eldritch beast is hiding within that purple cloud. Anyways. Hi, Zero. Something for me? Oh, we're gonna give her the dumplings. Here you go. Hand it over. See, we gotta do all these animations. Again, that level of immersion. That smell. Food, is it? I wonder if Golbez is gonna be like, can I have some of that? Ah, I recall Julius speaking of dumplings his mother used to make. Thank you for this parcel. And the fond memories. There's more than enough to share with Golbez. Now that he forgoes the aether of others. So yeah, getting used to not eating each other anymore. So she's just wondering what the Void would be like if culinary traditions were able to flourish here. But there's no food. There's no food for like the everyday person on the Void. They have to consume each other to survive. Or else they will just like dissipate into aether for then somebody else to consume. Okay. A beacon from beyond. So we're actually probably almost done with the MSQ. These patch story beats, they only last about 2 to 3 hours. Until our battle earlier, I hadn't called upon darkness in some time. In truth, I find light a better fit these days. Ever since you left, we've been roaming the Void in search of individuals who would join our cause. So they do have the ability to like communicate with other Void Sent, and they can make up their own minds and alliances. It's just usually most Void just want to consume, so they usually make like a dark alliance where it's like, okay, you help me consume things, I'll help you consume things. They're trying to gather Void Sent that want to restore the world to a more natural state, but they don't have really a great solution for that yet. So they're just kind of working towards a goal where they don't know how they're going to do it yet, other than just saying like, okay, stop consuming each other. Stop trying to feast on other people's magic. There's a teleporter situated between here and the center of the moon. I used it to travel to the surface in days long past, though I seldom had need of once my generals were in place. So we dealt with his generals. Are we going to the void? Or going to the actual void? Ah, forgive my idle reminiscences. 'Tis time we made our descent, so I guess we're going down to the surface. Okay. So Zero, she made her own little domain. It's kind of like a refuge for the Void Scent. Oh, we are back. Cool. So we're on the Void. Very dark. Kind of like this endless nothingness. But you can create your own domain, your own physical locations, if you consume enough Aether and like you have enough power. So these are like a refuge for all these Void Scent. They're all hungry, but they don't want to consume anymore, so they come here for safety. And we could go around and talk to them. I'm glad they made this, that we came back here, because in the story, we came here a few times, and then we kind of went away, and there was no way to come back. And this statue, I think, is supposed to be, of Zero. Because at the time, we didn't know what this statue was going to be of, but I think it's her. It's definitely like a more somber place, because you could talk to each one of these Void Scent, and they kind of tell you about their past lives. What do you got for us, Zero? I imagine you remember these, the transmitters we used to receive light from the first. So the first, that's just that's the shard that's basically overwhelmed with light magic, and we used it to restore some. What did we use it for? We used it to stop Golbez. Use the Aether transmitter at the designated location. So this is one of the ways we're trying to basically restore the Void, because it has no light. So to create balance, we need to obviously introduce the thing it's lacking, because we need to go the other way. Dark magic is very fluid. It's like always moving, rapidly moving, whereas light magic tends to be more like stagnant. So think of fire. Fire is more closely aligned with dark. Ice. Ice is more closely aligned with light. So everything kind of works off that scale. But the fluid version of water is just water, because water is rapidly moving. So if you have a world that's steeped in nothing but like rapid movement, that's where the consumption comes in. Or a planet that is wrapped up with light magic, very stale, very dead, almost like a desert. Because everything's kind of trapped and frozen. But it's that thing where like energy is neither created or destroyed, it's just transferred. Let's use our little transmitter here.
Upon activation, these transmitters will shine with light from beyond, sent courtesy of our ever-watchful friends.
Indeed.
They will serve as beacons in the dark for those that would seek me out.
So Zero is very much like a rare creature in the Void, considering she is imbued with light magic. She's just like, I don't know how it works, but it's on. So we're almost like creating like or we're using these devices that, again, we did that story beat at the end of ENDWALKER, but we're using those devices kind of create like almost like a lighthouse. There he is. I wonder what we're talking about here. Probably food. Yeah.
I did not expect to see you here.
We're like, hey, yeah, we're full of tricks. We can do anything. We're the main character.
And this is my domain. 'Tis a safe haven for those who abhor conflict. Among those gathered here, many aspire to restore this world to how it once was.
Such a thing is possible.
I'm curious to see what her answer is.
Indeed. Though how long the endeavor will take, I cannot say.
Like, in my opinion, the void would take a very, very long time to restore. Something I hope they just don't snap their fingers and fix.
But for those of us abandoned by death itself, what do we have but time to try and try again?
They're basically immortal, in a sense. I was gonna say, he's gonna say, okay.
This light is ample proof your comrades spoke true. However long it takes to restore our world, you shall have my aid.
And you shall have mine.
The vibes and just the story, guys, it's so much better than Dawntrail. Let's keep shitting on Dawntrail. It would seem Julius's intervention has helped forge a new bond. Thank you for bringing word to me. I gather you'll head home sooner rather than later? I mean, yeah, we could stay here. I don't think we'll be able to come back, but I guess we'll see. Then let us return to the Red Moon. I'm sure you won't begrudge me a proper farewell. Zero's like a new character, and I like her. She's good. She's good. She's good people.
A message to Euless for me.
Oh, you're talking to your boyfriend, eh?
Tell him that we're making progress towards rebuilding our home. And I hope that he is too.
Enuo's Memoria will be safe here.
So the Memoria, that's like the crystal we put him in. Because again, if we would have defeated him, his Aether would have just dispersed, and he basically would have reformed in the void to do the same thing all over again. The Memoria, the Memoria basically stops him from doing that.
The crystal containing Zeromus has been passed on to our allies in the First.
That's interesting. So Zeromus was a big old void scent. Like huge. Giant. So much so that I think the story beat is that they're using the darkness of Zeromus to help restore the First. Because again, the First almost completely overrun with light magic. It's just as devastating as the void being, covered in dark magic. So they're gonna use Zeromus's astral dark magic to restore or help restore the First, because you need that balance.
If Enuo's Memoria might serve them in restoring their world, we shall likewise consider its transfer.
We shall likewise consider it. That's right.
How much simpler it would be to aid one another in our respective fights, were it not for these boundaries between us. Safe travels, my friend. We take comfort in the knowledge that you're out there fighting too, wherever you may be.
Well, I wonder if this was just like a pit stop, just to remind us about these guys. I wonder if they're going to be involved in the expansion. I hope so. Because this would just be like a weird side quest. They've just been waiting for us. How do they breathe on the moon?
Luck, I'm afraid.
Air magic.
He's not in Mare Lamentorum.
Oh, they've been looking for us. Like, where did the Warrior of Light go? Damn it. Graha's probably the most upset. So is Alice. There we are. Oh, hey guys.
Wait. Is that...
We're like, hey, yeah, we were gone for a bit.
God, you had us worried. You suddenly disappeared. We didn't know what to think.
They kind of treat us like a kid at some points. Like, you had us so worried. We're like, come on, we're the Warrior of Light. We're the main character, damn it. And we're telling them about everything we did. Went to the void, stopped a big old void scent, turned on some lights. Zero was there. She ate the dumplings, or she liked them.
Shortly after you vanished, the void scent incursion abruptly ended.
Yeah, no shit, because we... Did you see the fight we did? No, you didn't. But we did it. It was awesome.
We surmised you had a hand in that, but never did it cross our minds that you were fighting alongside Zero and Golbez.
Okay. I think they're
This
jealous.
golden path you said you traversed wasn't visible to us either.
So I'm guessing we're going to be dealing with how do we make this golden path visible to, I guess, people of our choosing.
Nor did we hear a voice. Ethos. Might this be the key's true name?
Ethos, okay.
While many mysteries remain, for now, I am glad to learn the state of affairs in the 13th. Golbez's suspicion that the barrier twixt worlds has begun to weaken. 'Twould certainly explain the surge in fissures manifesting in the source.
Indeed.
Yet what could be behind such a phenomenon?
Ever Cold, the expansion coming up. Okay, this was a character from last patch who was kind of in the backgrounds, saying just like ominous things, and of course they somehow followed us to the moon. That's right, AIM.
And who might you be? Not a void scent, I'd wager.
This is like how we don't really greet anybody this way, but thankfully Thancred's on top of it. So this is a new character. We haven't really learned much about her. She's an all-raw.
Greetings.
Greetings. Oh, good.
I am Helmerut of the Asians.
So the Asians, they are the bad guys that are like behind most bad things that have gone on.
We are your sworn foes, I know. But on this occasion, will you not put away your arms?
Always the Asians. Huh. That's cute.
I wish only to talk.
This is interesting. Asians are very dangerous. And hard to kill.
Thank you for affording me a chance.
Bereft of the Unsundered, we were under the impression you and yours no longer had cause to continue your activities. That you should reveal yourself at this juncture.
We kind of resolved the main Asian plot on what they were trying to do. Really won't go into that. But so there are just some left over, some Asians left over that have been out there. It's kind of like, what do they do now?
I assume you are the one who bestowed Calyx with the knowledge of summoning and the reflections.
Summoning magic, like creation magic, very tough. A lot of people can't do it because you need to. There's a lot of boxes you need to check for it.
Yes, that is correct.
Trying to get a beat on her accent. Okay, that's Calyx. He doesn't usually look like that. He doesn't really have a physical form anymore.
Was it necessary to reveal my present form as well?
Calyx. So he succeeded in transferring his memories after all.
Be
This is like
at ease.
a stuffed
Even
animal.
were I to occupy a combat-oriented vessel, I would not have the ability to defeat you.
But the thing is, he's still bad, so it's like we should defeat him.
You destroyed my plan, my life's work. I have naught to replace it, nor will I ever regain what I once had.
If you wish to speak, Halmarut, will you not tell us what it is that you hope to accomplish?
We kind of do this sometimes where like we have these big bads that want to do unspeakable evils and have done that. And we defeat them. And then we just kind of let them continue existing without some sort of like law and punishment. Like they should be in prison. We should jail them or something. And we're just kind of like, oh, okay, well, you're no threat anymore. So I guess you can go even though you've done horrible, horrible things. Or wanted to do horrible things. What do we got going on here? What are you doing?
As you know, our star Aetheris was sundered into 4 and 10 shards in the time of the ancients.
Uh-huh. I guess we're gonna get a recap on how the world works.
As the will of the star, Hydaelyn perpetuated this unnatural division for millennia. And in the wake of her passing, nature has begun to reassert itself. As a wound knits itself together, the star seeks to become whole once more.
So the reflections are now naturally wanting to rejoin with the source. But part of the problem with that is when that happens, because we have had shards or reflections that have rejoined with the source, it comes with a calamity. Which is a big, almost like world reshaping event. A lot of people die. That's kind of usually how they do their calendar seasons. They call it the like umbral and astral eras. And those eras only change over when a calamity happens.
Yes, it seeks to rejoin with all of its shards. Unlike the one we Ascians attempted to orchestrate, however, the star's rejoining will afford mankind no special treatment.
Unlike the ones we Ascians attempted to orchestrate, however, the star's rejoining will afford mankind no special treatment. I'm pretty sure the ones that they were trying to do also were not good for us. What's she saying?
All life and matter will be condensed into a single whole and remade for a new beginning. A complete rebirth.
Kind of what they want to do, but not exactly.
Aetheris will return to the way it once was. Hundreds of millions of years past. To a quiet and peaceful time. Long before the light of mankind was kindled.
Okay. Well, that's not good.
Supposing for a moment we believe you, how can you possibly know all this?
'Cause I'm the villain, you see.
It is an inevitability that I have foreseen since time immemorial. A future that awaits should creation be freed from the influence of Hydaelyn and Zodiark.
So the Hydaelyn Zodiark, that is like the first saga of the game, ended with Endwalker. Okay, flowers on the moon, cool. She's got like weird magic. Druid magic. I don't trust it.
The star is tolerant to life. It holds no grudges, and neither rages nor weeps for being sundered. Yet by the same token, it is indifferent to life's survival. No amount of devastation and death can compel it to stop the wheels of creation from turning.
Kronos, get your head out of the gutter. She's got cute glasses though, right? Listen. This is like a trope in Final Fantasy. It's the fact that every character you meet, good or bad, we're probably gonna fight them in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, you bet your ass these glasses, we're probably gonna punch her right in the face, break them.
The earth shakes, and mountains spew fire. Floods wash away the fruits of labor, and icy winds freeze and starve. Countless perish as nature runs its course. So many seeds of life have already been lost. Yet in spite of this, people continue to believe that the morrow will come.
The morrow will come. What is her accent?
But it will not. For nothing lies beyond the solstice, when all creation is reunited. When that day comes, every last trace of mankind shall be erased.
I can't put my finger on it. I like her green eyes though. So another world-ending event. Good. We like those. What's the solution?
I cherish
butterfly magic.
Despite losing his innocence and being made to live with suffering, he has forged ever onward. Strong, even as he is weak, his is a proud tale in the history of the star.
So mankind, when they talk about mankind and man in this world, it just means all of the races, like the sentient creatures. So the Elzen, the elves, Lalafels, obviously here, all of them, we're all under the umbrella of mankind.
It would be a shame for that tale to end. For all to wither and die, when some might yet survive. Would you not agree?
This is like the villain thing where it's like, it would be bad for everybody to die, but there's something we can do about it.
If a natural rejoining doth lead unto the solstice, then thine intent is to preemptively rejoin the worlds.
You're so eloquent with your words, Urianger. He's the smart one.
Correct. It was for this very purpose that Halmarut recruited
Halmarut.
suitable collaborators from the Reflections. Individuals like me, who would willingly doom another world in order to fulfill their aspirations.
Yeah, he's just kind of a dick. Ascians, they don't have a corporeal form, like a real physical form. They obviously present one before us, but they can travel between the shards. The Ascians can, because they're not, again, they don't have a physical form.
The Winterers, we are called. And if you and yours seek to protect all life, then sooner or later you shall have to contend with us.
How about we just fight you right here and now? Beat your silly little stuffed animal ass. Nope, we'll just stand and watch.
Even if everything you claim is true,
I don't care about Solution 9.
what you've done, Calyx, it's unforgivable.
Good, let's do something about it.
I do not ask that you be pragmatic, nor do I seek your approval. Given your familiarity with other reflections, 'tis only natural that you are averse to our methods.
But why?
But there is one irrefutable fact that you must understand. Should we take no action at all, the solstice will come, and no one will be left alive. No one.
So if they do it preemptively, they say they can save some people? Is that what their angle is? How so?
Of course, should it serve to satisfy your ambition, you are welcome to deal with the reflections as you deem fit.
That's right, get up right to the face.
Like the pariah and wanderer who satisfied his own when he brought the star to the brink of ruin to face you.
That is a good friend's scythe and weapon. Interesting why they brought this up. I don't know how they just summoned that. Shit. Okay, bye. Interesting. It's like, were they good or bad? Obviously bad. Okay, they just teleport us back to the Lofferets. There you are. One moment you were standing before me, the next you vanished in thin air. Yeah, that's what we do. Thanks to all you, all the voicing have been eradicated. Yep. Though I can't help notice that you don't seem to share my, I can't help to notice, but notice none of you seem to share my enthusiasm. I had the right of it. This is where we tell her, well, we have another world-ending event on our, on our hands. That is preposterous. So, I don't want to go into too much on what the Lofferets are. Let's grab some of this because that critical damage, or critical bump. Trails to the Heavens, so this will be the last quest for the MSQ, and you can see, we've been kind of taking our time. Are we going back to the Rising Stone? What? So the Rising Stone used to be our, like, headquarters. We kind of abandoned it. Nice. But you can see, they usually last about 3 hours. Not too much time. Let's go. Wow, we're going back to the Rising Stone. Okay. So the Scions, this was like their HQ. And then we abandoned it because that organization, we kind of disbanded so that other nations and the grand companies would start to solve their own problems. Hey, Thanker's just hanging out. What's up, brother? We'll go inside. This is a place you go to pretty early in the game, so it's like a home away from home. Very cozy in here. Oh, Thancred's inside now. I'm pretty sure, yeah, you talk to all of them. They usually will have like some little line to say. Yeah, we're just reconvening with everybody. Here we go. Cutscene, and this should explain where we're going next. We have to talk about the fact that we're back here. Because this is the first time we've come back since we have abandoned the place.
Long it hath been since last we gathered here.
It's been a while.
Though our order's dissolution was indeed in name only, thereafter, we did largely operate independent of one another.
No, actually, we didn't. One of the major critiques about Dawntrail is the fact that this group was supposed to disband, right? Everybody's supposed to go off and do their own thing, you know, help other people or just do whatever. But no, that didn't happen very long before we were all back together, basically doing the same thing we were doing prior, even though we made it a big grand gesture about disbanding. So no, Ryonjay, I don't agree with this.
All of which is to say, full glad am I to stand in such esteemed company once more.
Brother, we never left. And again, this wouldn't be such a big deal if they didn't make it a big deal about the whole Scion group, like, splitting up.
Apologies for our delay.
Apologies for our delay. These are just a bunch of people who are usually here.
We're reporting for duty, as bid.
Duty.
This is everyone that we could round up on short notice. The others are still en route. Estinian alone we weren't able to make contact with, but we're working on it.
Estinian is like the Batman of Final Fantasy XIV. He operates mostly independently, and when he shows up, shit goes down, and he is very, very powerful.
No doubt his link pearl is buried at the bottom of his bag.
Man, if I had a link pearl, I would also turn that shit off.
Knowing him, he'll turn up when we least expect it.
Just like Batman.
Now, as much as I'd like to savor our reunion, Tataru tells us there have been developments.
I think Thancred's just a little salty that he doesn't have like the Batman status and he has to actually work with everybody.
Will you apprise us of the details?
Yeah, let's tell you everything that's going on. The world is gonna try to blow up again. Nothing we can do about it. And Ascians are back with Ascian plots. And yeah, we're kind of back to square one. That about sums it up. Also Void Scent. We like Void Scent. Now this is gonna be part 1 of the 7.5 story. There will be a second part. I'm just wondering how this is going to lead us to the next expansion. Because right now it's not very evident.
The veracity of Halmarut's claims remains unclear. Yet it cannot be denied that, in his bid to convert the living into endless, Calyx was privy to knowledge of the reflections and more.
And the Winterers are formed of others, like him.
So the Winterers are just people from other shards that will basically do whatever they have to preserve, you know, who they deem like worthy or want to. Not really focused on saving everybody. And again, at all costs, we'll go through with their plans. Probably like smart people.
Incursions, I believe it would be wise to treat the solstice as a genuine threat.
You don't say. Alpha Node.
The problem is how to deal with it.
Why did they reveal themselves to us?
The reflections are home to irreplaceable life. I would protect them all if I could.
LSA's kind of, I don't know. I don't like this naive stance of like, I would protect everybody if I could. It's like, you know how big the world is?
But if doing so means ushering in complete annihilation...
I'm sure we'll figure it out. The game has to go on. It makes money. Lots of money.
What can we possibly do?
Get more subscribers.
I wonder, was Hydaelyn aware of the solstice?
Hydaelyn, that's a can of worms we don't exactly want to open right now.
Given that we had no knowledge of it when you journeyed to Elpis, you couldn't have warned Venar. So it is entirely possible she was unaware. But in the course of sustaining the Sundered Star, she may have glimpsed this eventuality.
I don't think she had any way of knowing. I think she knew. And chose to trust us. Okay, let's go with that.
So she believed that we could overcome this trial as well. Or rather, that the choice was ours to make.
Whichever it may be, it is we who must find the answer.
Hydaelyn was like the mother crystal. Kind of like, a godlike being that everybody kind of prayed to.
We who live in the here and now.
They almost referred to, instead of, in the early days, they called, basically the planet Hydaelyn. Even though it's called actually Aetheris, but she was so influential during that time that they would just say like Hydaelyn instead for again, the planet, the source.
Perhaps we could take a recess? Oh, I dare say everyone could use a rest.
Carter, you didn't really do anything. Nobody did any fighting except for me, really.
Indeed. We have ample food for thought, and it would be good to catch each other up.
Classically, we'll go to like a resolution point. We're like, okay, well, we'll figure it out.
Ere I forget, Huron, I believe you should keep the key, Ethos, in your possession.
Yeah, of course. But we'll get to a point where like, okay, well, we'll figure it out until next time, and then it'll like fade to black, and it'll say like, meanwhile, in such and such place, and we'll get like a little teaser of what's to come.
After all, it seems that is one mystery I am not destined to unravel.
Oh, well, Y'shtola, I think you'll figure everything else out. Yeah, we're shocked by that, because she literally figures out everything. Wait till they make Final Fantasy XIV have like a dating game. Everybody would pick Y'shtola as like a wife. If they want to make real money, that's what they'll do. Oh god, we have to talk to them all? 'Twas by no means an easy decision, but the solstice is now our paramount concern. Okay, yeah. So they're just talking about how they were helping out with Garlemald, because they're kind of in the middle of a government transition. So they were helping out with that. Corvos to monitor the situation among the Garleans and the Corvosi. So the Corvosi, that whole area, those are like the places that were taken over by Garlemald. So those nations and how they're kind of reclaiming their independence. Judging by your glides, Clemens, your studies have been productive. Who is she? She's from Sharlayan. She's a Sharlayan. I gotta get a better look at her face. Nope, I don't remember her at all. They were training in Gridania, which is where we started our new character when Voidsent attacked the Twelveswood. So, seems like the Voidsent, they were kind of popping up everywhere, and they are more prone to actually show up in the Godswood because that area had a pretty big conflict that went on before this game, like back in the history. But we're not going to learn about that now or talk about it. All right, Tartar, what do you got? It seems everyone has much and more to discuss with one another. Anyways, you're long overdue for for a proper break. I thought she was going to hand us paperwork. Peace and quiet will help you think. Okay. Feel free to make yourself comfortable in the dawn's respite. Okay. This should be it. Yeah. Maybe this is the meanwhile. Always the moon, by the way. Now, this is us. Wonder who's going to come talk to us. This is a nice place. We're always looking up at the moon.
Of course, should it serve to satisfy your ambition, you are welcome to deal with the reflections as you deem fit.
As you deem fit. Kind of sounds Irish. Maybe Scottish? Scottish. It's got to be Scottish because...
Okay,
I think it's Scottish.
His own when he brought the star to the brink of ruin to face you.
I detest evenings such as this. Too bright, too stimulating. The mind distracted by the inconsequential.
That's Calyx.
You needn't be so wary. I merely come to offer information before my departure.
We know we don't like what he's up to. This is another thing the Warrior of Light does, where we have the enemy right in front of us. We just take him out.
Halmarut and I will soon cross the rift to observe the enactment of another Winter's plan.
So the rift is like the space between the different reflections.
Our destination is the fourth.
Okay, it's the fourth shard, the fourth reflection. That is where the next expansion is taking place.
A world locked in ice. whose lands are blanketed in thick clouds. In order to survive, man has fled to the skies, using great magics to establish new civilizations.
Polish? Norwegian? Oh. Norwegian, maybe that's what I'm hearing. Sounds exciting. Why do you tell me where you're going? I kind of want to know why. Yeah. It's like, why are you telling us your plans?
I have my own designs I would see realized. Nothing more. Believe me or don't, as you like. For all I know, you lack the means to follow us anyway.
We don't. Not anymore.
What Halmarut said to you earlier.
I bet she's like good. Maybe not. I don't know. We're gonna fight her eventually.
She suggested that dealing with the reflections might satisfy your ambition. But is that truly so?
Yeah, the Warrior Light, we have like a deep, deep hunger to like just keep almost like achieving and fighting in a sense.
You have seen battles beyond counting, have defeated even the fear of death. Is there some conclusion that you seek, no matter the cost?
No, we're just always on to the next thing.
I will share with you a truth.
Okay.
We Winterers each have an ambition that we wish to fulfill. To that end, we may share information with one another, but we do not necessarily share the same beliefs. Just as you and yours decried my actions, I find those of my fellows objectionable.
So it's almost like they're another... Because the Ascians were always like in the background manipulating things. It's just like another faction of background villains. But instead of being Ascians, who are these very old, very powerful like magic users that can travel between shards, these were just like regular beings that, you know, were born into existence and then just have the capabilities or the desire to go through with this winner's plan.
Be that as it may, it is the culmination of our lives' works that we would bring to the world. Fruits born of undying devotion, daring aspiration.
This is
unwavering ideals.
Calyx's is like mortal form, corporeal form that he doesn't have anymore.
No matter how we are reviled, no matter what we must steal, our actions will be vindicated by those who abide in the future we create.
So the ends justify the means if they, you know, succeed in their eyes.
In your benevolence, you may seek to save everything and everyone. But once all is consequently consigned to oblivion, your noble deeds will amount to nothing more than folly. For no living soul shall remain to judge them.
Calyx as a villain, a lot of people like him. I'm indifferent. He doesn't have the aura of other villains we've had. Again, we could stop him. We could stop him right there. It would be easy. He's just a little doll. Let him go. Deal with him later. Again. Is there a meanwhile? If shattered stars are doomed to mend, how turns the key to winter's end? So that is part 1. Part 2, I think, comes out later in the fall, and that'll be our direct link to the expansion. This was more so kind of setting up, okay, this is how we're going to be dealing with the 4th. At least that's where they're going, so obviously we're going to follow. But yeah, the story will continue. The last patch, the 0.5, always, the MSQ is always split up into 2 sections, or at least there's 2 parts to it. Usually in the other patches, they are just like the single story, and that's it. You gotta wait for the next patch. No, in 0.5, the actual patch is split up. Yeah, I'm wondering, they want to choose the rejoinings 1 at a time instead of 6 all at once. Yeah, 6 at a time sounds not like a good thing, because again, when even one reflection rejoins with the shard, it's a big problem. And then there's the whole, this is going back into the story a little bit. There's the whole thing that you need to prime the source, and then you also need to prime the reflection for them to be able to merge. That's a big problem with what happened to the Void, where they primed the Void, the 13th, but the actual source wasn't like able to receive it. So it had nowhere to go, the 13th. So then it kind of like imploded on top of itself. They eventually figured it out that you need to basically start a bunch of conflict and charge the source with a certain ether, whatever it's supposed to be matching with another shard. So, for example, with the Void, they really needed to prime the source with a lot of dark magic, because that's what the primary magic on the 13th was, and then they'd be able to rejoin. But they didn't do that, so that's what happened to the 13th. They kind of learned from that oopsie, and they've been able to rejoin a couple of the other shards. I don't remember the exact number, but a few. So we'll see how it goes. So they're saying, yeah, if all the shards rejoin, they're going to happen naturally because the magic that split them up, it's gone. The source of that magic, we kind of we didn't deal with it, but it resolved itself for a very good reason. But we're not going to get into that now. So naturally, the shards are going to come together, and it's going to wipe out all existence as far as mankind and people, but it'll return the shard to a more natural state as far as just like nature, and probably begin everything anew, which kind of like dinosaurs. We're about to get hit by the meteor. Another meteor. Huh. Kind of like Final Fantasy VII in that sense. Well, not really. You know what I mean. Anyways, so that is 7.5. This is generally how every Final Fantasy XIV patch, story patch, goes. You get a dungeon, you sometimes get a trial, and this is about the amount of time that it takes. Now, there is more to the patch. For example, there is an alliance raid. That is a side story. We're not going to be tackling that because, or at least we're not going to be tackling it today. We might get into it later, and we'll kind of see if people. Yeah, we should probably show off the alliance raid. Okay, so I think next time we will show off the alliance raid, kind of what the alliance raids are about, because they're just like big content for people, and then we'll look at the other stuff in this patch. But then I want to switch back to our new character. We can kind of learn the game from the beginning. And I think that'll be good. And so we'll go from there. Tomorrow, I'm going to be off. I'm going to be trying to put together that Baldur's Gate 3 video about the control build. Or just talking about control spells in general with a few subclasses that I think are really strong at it. And then I will be back Thursday, I think. So thank you guys for hanging out with this. Little experimental, little change of pace. But 14's great. It's a really good game. I'm liking the vibes of it, where it's going now. Definitely better than before. I'm glad we're out of that crazy cyberpunk aesthetic, because this is much more pleasing to the eye to me. You know, stone, regular chairs, these lanterns, got some fires. This is more of the Final Fantasy vibe that I very much enjoy. But anyways, guys, yes, I will see you Thursday. And until then, peace. I guess look forward to the video Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Yes, probably be out later in the day, probably around 1 or 3. I don't know. I haven't made a video like that on YouTube in a while, so it'll be like trying to learn how to edit all over again because we've been doing so much streaming. But anyways, guys, yes, we'll see you then. Bye.